Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is a story about what if Naruto was a prodigy like Madara. This is a part 1 of the story. If you enjoy this and want to see part 2, comment down below and let me know. Before I start, please do support and leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel and also share with your friends and check out other videos on my channel. Let's begin this alternative reality. Legacy. Uchiha. Namikaze Uchiha Naruto. A 4-year-old boy was strolling through the forests of Konohagakure No Sato. His hair a mix of blonde and few strands of brown in it. He had long spiky hair, which seemed to reach up to his shoulders. 2 jaw-length bangs on each side, and on the front of his face, a bit of hair seemed to reach down to his right eye. He knew he was different. Different than the kids his age. While other kids would play in the park with other children and think of whether to play ninja tag or just run around, he would often think about life and death, or how the different shinobi villages were at each other's throats to prove themselves superior to the other. One may say any 4-year-old kid who thinks that way would need to consult a medic to verify whether his/her cognitive functions are right for their age or not. But Naruto knew there was nothing wrong with his brain functioning. It's just how he was raised. He was not sugar-coated about the horrors of the shinobi world unlike other kids. His 2chan often told him stories about different shinobi villages and the stories of the wars when he asked him about it. His 2chan. Namikaze Uchiha Minato. Yes, Naruto is the son of the great Yondaime Hokage of Konohagakure no Sato. Naruto was a smart boy for his age. Although he did not like to boast about it, he believed he would probably be the smartest person in his age group when he joins the shinobi academy of the village when he's of age. It was not hard for him to notice how the people of the village hailed his father as a hero and scorned him for reasons he did not understand. Ever since he could understand the human language and went out of the house alone on the streets of Konoha, he would see people glaring at him. He would often hear people whispering words like demon, monster, Kyuubi, traitor, but he ignored it. No one did ever say those awful things to him to his face unless they would bring the wrath of a Hokage and the Uchiha clan. Being the son of Yondaime Hokage and grandson of Uchiha Madara has its merits, I suppose. Mused Naruto as he kept walking. Naruto was respected by the Uchiha clan. It was mainly because he had the blood of the strongest Uchiha running in his veins. Until recently, it was not a well-known fact to everyone that the current Hokage, Minato Namikaze, was an Uchiha. Not just any Uchiha, but the son of the legendary Uchiha Madara. The only ones who were aware of that fact were Jiraiya, Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze, Senju Tsunade, and the deceased Sandaime Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen. The Uchiha clan too were aware of Minato and Naruto's heritage. Even though Madara was considered a traitor in the village, no one could ever doubt Minato's loyalty. His deeds during the Third Great Shinobi War single-handedly won Konoha her victory. The Uchiha clan, who had become restless earlier since they felt their power was considerably decreasing in the village, calmed down as one of their own, even if the son of Uchiha Madara could become the leader of the village. Minato was different from some of the power-hungry fools in his clan. He had his pride, but was not overly arrogant to believe that he was invincible. Growing up an orphan since the age of 5 in the village had instilled a humbler nature in him, which he instilled in his son, Naruto, as well. As Naruto was walking aimlessly amidst the forest of Konohagakure no Sato, his thoughts then lingered to his mother. His dead mother. Her name was Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze. She was from a village known as Uchiha no Sato. The Uzumaki were distantly related to the Senju clan, and both the clans are believed to have the same progenitor. Naruto was told that his mother passed away during the dreadful night when a monster called the Kyuubi no Yoko attacked the village. He was even more astonished to hear that it was the Sandaime Hokage and his father who defeated the nine-tailed fox. Although, it came at a high price as the Sandaime lost his life that night. It was during the attack that Minato was forced to reveal his Sharingan to the others, which he normally hid under an advanced genjutsu. What Naruto did not know is that the very same Kyuubi no Yoko was sealed inside of him, as it is impossible to kill a Biju, a being made entirely of chakra. Let alone, the strongest of them all. Naruto may have had to grow up an orphan, had it not been for his Ji-chan. Naruto started calling Sarutobi with that informal name after listening to all the stories his father told him about the former Hokage. The Sandaime had used a kinjutsu to seal the young half of the nine-tailed fox inside baby Naruto just hours after he was born, while he sealed the yin half of the fox inside himself. It was Sarutobi's wish that Naruto grew up with a father standing by his side and becomes the beacon of light in the shroud of darkness that entraps humanity. Naruto suddenly stopped in his tracks as he realized he had been walking without a destination in his mind for quite some time now. He looked around to see where he exactly was and observed several ruined stone buildings around himself. It dawned on him that he must be quite far from his home because he didn't exactly know where he was right now. Ah, I got lost again. I should stop wandering here and there without letting 2-chan know about it. He's not going to like it, thought Naruto as he sheepishly rubbed the back of his head, a trait he received from his father. He then noticed a gigantic tree with a half-visible symbol on it covered by several bushes growing near the tree. He went towards the tree and stood directly in front of it. He moved his hand towards it and removed the bushes covering the symbol he noticed earlier. What he found was quite astonishing. It was the symbol of Konohagakure no Sato. On its left and right side were the clan symbols of the Senju and the Uchiha respectively. He looked around, turning his head left and right to get a better view of the place he was standing on. There were several ruined stone buildings, few scattered kunai, katanas and the Senju and Uchiha clan symbols on each side of the tree respectively. He moved around the place a bit to see if his keen eyes could find something. And what he found was various scrap marks as well as burn marks on the trees which looked decades old. He came back to his earlier position, once again standing before the giant tree, as he came to the correct conclusion. Flashback. A 3-year-old Naruto was happily tucked under the comforts of his blanket in his bed by his 2-chan, Minato. 2-chan, I have a question, said an excited Naruto. Minato took a nearby chair and sat near his precious son and smiled looking at him. Yes, Naru. Naruto always loved the nicknames his father gave him. He always had a tough time coming up with nicknames for people. So, he believed it took one a lot of time to come up with them, and he loved the fact that his father spends time thinking about him. Even though he had a sharp mind, he was still a child, and that's what Minato loved among the many things about him. He could show maturity and wisdom 1 second and the next second he would act his age of being a child. How was our village formed? What was here in this place before Konoha was built? Naruto asked, his face showing how excited he was to learn different things. Well, do you remember what I told you about my father and the Shodaime Hokage of our village? Yes, 2-chan. Madara Sofu and Senju Hashirama belonged to the two noble clans, the Uchiha clan and the Senju clan. And both were the leaders of their clan when they formed an alliance between themselves to form the first hidden village, which today is known as Konohagakure no Sato. Naruto said. Minato nodded and patted his head once affectionately to signify what he said was correct. Naruto puffed his chest to show how proud he was that he knew his village's history. So before Konoha was formed, it was a time where most clans fought with each other to gain more lands and resources for themselves. You know, during those times also there were people as wealthy as the daimyo. And these wealthy people hired shinobi from clans to do chores that their average workers were not capable of. Do you understand what I said so far? Minato asked. Naruto nodded and Minato continued to tell the tale. So one clan would target the wealthy person who was using shinobi from their rival clan. So, if the clan can take out that wealthy person, their rival clan will lose resources. That will bring their rival clan's status down. The Uchiha and Senju clan also fought over similar reasons. The place where our village stands today was the battlefield of many wars fought between those two clans. When the two clans formed an alliance, they decided to choose a place where both the clans have met, whether be in battle or in a meeting. So, does that answer your question, Naru? Minato asked as he finished telling the story in simpler words so Naruto could understand them easily. Yes, 2-chan. You are the best. Naruto told his father as he closed his eyes and tried to go to sleep. Sleep well, Naru. Minato said, kissing his son's forehead. Flashback end. This must have been one of the main areas of the fight between the Uchiha and the Senju before the village was formed, thought an excited Naruto. He then noticed there was some sort of annotation below the Konoha village symbol. He moved his hands below the symbol and just traced the note with his hand once. He moved his face closer to get a better look at it. On this day, the Senju and the Uchiha clan joined hands with each other to form an alliance to build a better future for the coming generations to come. It was Madara's and my dream that one day we could stop the endless fighting that seems to have plagued this world. On this very land, we stand on, our new home is going to be built. Konohagakure no Sato. A village built on the foundation of will of fire. A place, where young will not have to be sent for battles, where children will have a chance to live a normal childhood. Especially a home, where parents will not have to bury their own children. It is my belief that one day, the people of this world will look past each other's differences and look each other eye to eye. This my dream for the future. Hashirama Senju clan leader. Naruto was filled with awe upon reading the words written by the Shodai Hokage. While he was reflecting on the words of the former Hokage, he realized his grandfather Uchiha Madara was also mentioned in the annotation. He felt a bit sad that he never got to meet him. His father had told him a lot of things about his Sofu. Why did you have to leave me and Tu-chan alone in the village Madara Sofu? I never got to spend time with you unlike Tu-chan. Thought Naruto a bit deflated. Naruto looked up from his spot towards the sky, and saw the sun was about to set. He gazed at the reddish sky for a while longer and closed his eyes and let the calm breeze flowing in the air graze his face. Suddenly, he felt someone touch his shoulders from behind and tensed a bit thinking, someone was attacking him. Naru, what are you doing so deep in the forests at this time? The person asked with concern. His father's voice calmed his nerves. And he turned around and hugged his father who was bending down on his legs to Naruto's eye level. Sorry Tu-chan, I kind of got lost on the road of life. Naruto smirked seeing his father's eye twitch. You Kakashi. I will need to talk to you about this. Thought Minato. He looked at his son's eyes and softly said, I was concerned Naru. I looked for you at home and grew worried not finding you there. Next time, you tell me okay. Something could have happened to you, you know. Sorry Tu-chan. It won't happen again. Promise. Naruto said looking down at his feet as he realized how worried his father might have become. His Tu-chan was the closest person to him and he never wanted to hurt him. Come on now. It's alright. Good thing is, you are alright. It's a father job to worry about their child you know. Minato said with a smile and ruffled his son's hair, gaining a goofy smile from him. Let's go home now. I will make us some dinner. What do you want to have tonight? Minato held Naruto's right hand in his left and started walking towards the village. Ramen, shouted the 4-year-old boy. Huh. Guess, me and Naruto did get our eating habits from Kushina. Minato thought with a small smile as he and Naruto were walking back home. Although there are many civilians and shinobi alike who dislike Naruto for what he carries, there are also those who absolutely cherish the young blonde boy. Kakashi Hatake, a former student of Minato who is now an Anbu agent. He is the son of the famed White Fang, Tsukumo Hatake. With his gravity-defying silver hair and the face mask which he always has on, many find him an odd fellow. Till today, it's a mystery to almost everyone about his facial features. His Hitae is always pulled down to cover his left eye, containing a Sharingan eye. The unique dujutsu of the Uchiha clan was given to him by his former teammate and friend Obito Uchiha in his last moments, who died fighting during the Third Great Shinobi War. The exploits of the young shinobi during his ninja career were so impeccable, that he earned himself the moniker of Sharingan no Kakashi. There are several more shinobis that are Anbu agent as well as normal Junin of the Leaf Village who have taken a liking to Naruto. Yugao and Kurenai were both students of Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze. They all felt horrible when news of Kushina's untimely death during the Kyuubi's attack was revealed to the village. Hence, they often took time to visit baby Naruto when his father was busy. Makoto Uchiha, matriarch of the Uchiha clan and Fugaku Uchiha, clan head of the Uchiha clan, who were close friends of Minato and Kushina since childhood often visited baby Naruto along with their two sons Itachi and Sasuke. Makoto had taken a liking to little Naruto from the moment she laid eyes on him and often spent a lot of time with him and helped raise him whenever she could. Jiraiya of the Sannin, one of the 3 students of the late Sandaime Hokage and the sensei of Yondaime Hokage, Minato Namikaze. He gained the title of Sannin during the Second Great Shinobi War during his fight with Hanzo the Salamander, as a testimony of the battle prowess he showed. Even though he proclaims himself to be a super pervert, and often considered by others as an idiot, he's by far the strongest of his 2 teammates, Senju Tsunade and Orochimaru. Among his many special attributes is his ability to harness nature chakra or senjutsu, thus making him a sage. Since he was taught senjutsu by the Toad Summons, he's widely known as Gamma Sennin. The two ramen chefs at the Ichiraku ramen store in Konohagakure No Sato are among the nicest people Naruto could ever meet. He was first taken there on his 3rd birthday. Chuki, a 50-year-old man, is the one who mainly runs the store, and his teenage daughter, Ayame, helps him around with the dishes and customers. The next day, Naruto and Minato were both sitting on the grassy field of their backyard in the Namikaze estate. The father and son duo sat under shade of a sakura tree, enjoying the calm breeze of the afternoon sun. Even though Minato's status as an Uchiha was now revealed, he did not wish to live in the Uchiha compound. He knew growing up in the Uchiha compound for Naruto might not be a good idea. Considering he is the son of the Hokage and his heritage, most of the clan members around him will start to have expectations of him to become something great and start placing him on a pedestal above an average child. Living out here with me, apart from the clan, at least his life will not become a competition of achievements. The council members of the Uchiha clan won't try anything idiotic as long as I'm here. Minato thought. He was brought out of his musings, as he felt Naruto tap his hands. Yes, Naru? He asked. To-chan, I want to become a shinobi. Naruto said, looking at his feet. Oh, why do you want to, Naru? He asked softly. I want to become strong like you. I want to live in a peaceful world. You told me, there's so much hatred in this world. That people from other villages won't talk to us properly, because they think we are a threat to them. I want to change that. I want everyone to stay happy. I don't want people to die anymore. I don't want you to die. Naruto said the last part in a whisper, still looking down at his feet. Minato was left speechless upon hearing his son's reasoning. He has witnessed a lot of things in his shinobi life, in which death of a shinobi took the upper rank. He looked at his son with calculating eyes, studying his posture. Naruto thought he must have said something wrong since his father wasn't replying to him. He looked at his father and saw him looking at him intently. He was about to speak something when his father beat him to it. Naru, do you know why a shinobi fights? Why we shinobi kill each other? To protect someone close to us. Naruto said, remembering his father telling him that once. That is true. In this shinobi world, there is no right or wrong. Everyone in this world fights for something they think is right. Something which may seem right to you, may look wrong to someone else. Do you understand, son? Minato asked. He could see his son was in deep thought, looking at his facial expression. His left eyebrow was raised slightly and both of his hands were folded over his chest. He's so much like me and Tu-san when we are deep in our thoughts. He thought with a bit of nostalgia. Yes, Tu-chan, I think I do. Naruto said as he slowly nodded his head. You have an admirable dream, Naruto. You know, most kids your age would say, they want to become strong for their own sake. But, to become strong to protect someone else is one of the wisest traits a person can portray. Minato said with a smile. Naruto was really glad to have his Tu-chan with him. He loved how his father could make him feel happy all the time. He went and hugged Minato tightly for a few seconds, enjoying being in his presence. When they parted, Minato made Naruto sit on his lap and said, Naru, the life of a shinobi is never easy. It is full of sacrifices, hardships, hatred, and you must do lots of things which you, yourself may feel is wrong. My sensei once told me, a shinobi is one who stands firm and endures. I will teach you everything I know about being a shinobi, but at the end it is up to you, how you make use of that teaching, okay? Hi Tu-chan. Now can we get started please? He asked a bit impatiently. Minato inwardly smiled seeing his son so happy on the prospect of being a shinobi. How much ever smart he may seem, Naru is still a kid right now. I wish you were here to see our son grow up, Kushina. I promise, I will always stand by your side no matter what happens, my little Naru. Yes, I know. Calm down, Naru. Get up and follow me now, okay? Minato asked, getting a nod from the young boy. Naruto followed his father to a small pond a few distances away from the sakura tree. He saw his father sitting down cross-legged and he too sat down in the same position facing Minato. Naru, listen closely to me from now, alright? Minato said and saw Naruto nod his head. Today, we are going to unlock your chakra. In our world, essentially everything contains chakra. Starting from humans, to animals and even trees and plants. Chakra is a form of life energy and those who run out of chakra eventually die. Chakra is produced within chakra coils that mainly surround and connect to each organ that produces chakra. Shinobi generate and release it outside their bodies through pressure points which are called tenketsu points. Minato paused in between to look at Naruto and found him to be listening to him intently. Did you understand what I said up till now? Minato asked. Hi To-chan. Naruto said. Minato was about to continue when he saw a questioning look on his son's face. Naru, do you have a question? To-chan, you once told me, since you are the Hokage, you have the most chakra in the village. So, does that mean, you also have more tenketsu points than the others? Naruto asked. Minato smiled a bit seeing Naruto question. He remembered how he used to question his father when he started teaching him the ways of molding chakra in his early years after his mother's unfortunate death. No Naru. Every person has a fixed number of tenketsu points, which is 361. When a person trains for years and conserves chakra, their chakra coils tend to expand, thus increasing that person's chakra reserves. Some people are born with more chakra while some with comparatively less. People belonging to shinobi family are born with fairly larger chakra than those in civilian family. Minato looked at his son again and saw him nod, understanding that Naruto followed his words. Now, we will try and unlock your chakra, he said, and Naruto smiled with excitement visible in his eyes. Now Naru, relax your body and put the palms of both your hands together and hold it in front of your chest and close your eyes. Keep focus on yourself and nothing else, okay? Try and find a warm pull in your body. Minato said and saw Naruto sitting in the instructed position and closing his eyes. It had been about 10 minutes that Naruto was sitting in the same position with his hands clasped in front of him. I wonder if he's going to unlock it in his first try. It's very rare but not impossible, thought Minato as he saw his son concentrate. Meanwhile, Naruto's breathing had become light and his mind in a perfect state of calmness. He searched deep within his body for a warm thing and saw a bluish-purple light. He instantly pulled out his hands and grabbed it. Minato was thinking along those lines when there was a sudden burst of immense purple chakra from Naruto, creating spider web cracks on the ground they were sitting on. Minato's eyes widened on seeing the grounds crack around him and Naruto. He saw how wildly the chakra flowed and swirled around Naruto's body. So much of chakra in such density at such a young age. Incredible. The chakra output continued for a while and soon Naruto opened his eyes seeing his father looking at him with widened eyes. He felt so incredible now. He could sense his father's chakra in front of him and was amazed at how large it was. He could also pinpoint two people standing on the east side of his house. Must be those shinobi working specially for To-chan. He thought. I did it, To-chan, he whispered in a tired voice. He smiled seeing his father's stupefied expression and tried standing up. He put his hands on the ground and stood up with shaky legs. As soon as he took 2 steps forward, his vision became a bit hazy and he started falling towards the ground. Minato quickly stood up from his sitting position and moved to catch Naruto before he fell. I'm proud of you, Naru. You must be tired now, huh? Minato asked, getting a weak nod from Naruto. He placed him in his arms safely and felt him fall asleep immediately. He brushed his hair softly once and heard him release a content sigh. There's no doubt in my mind, you will go on to achieve great things, my son. Whatever path you shall choose in life, just know I will always be there by your side. He whispered softly. Minato then took Naruto inside the house and laid him gently on the sofa of the living room. Sleep well, Naru, Minato said as he kissed his forehead once. He then looked at the clock and saw it was around 4:30 in the afternoon. I should get done with some of my paperwork. I will take Naru for ramen at night, Minato thought as he made his way to his office inside the house. Few hours later, it was around 8 at night that Naruto began to slowly open his eyes. He rubbed his eyes once to get adjusted to the light in the room. He realized he must have fallen asleep right after he unlocked his chakra. He looked around the room and saw he was on the couch in the living room. To-chan must have put me here, he thought. He got up from the couch and folded the blanket and kept it aside. He walked towards the kitchen to see it was empty. Naruto remembered how he could pinpoint the location of the 2 ANBUs who were standing just outside his house and sensed the amount of chakra his father possessed. So, he closed his eyes and tried finding his father's chakra. Ah, he's there in the office room. Naruto thought with a smile. He immediately opened his eyes and made his way upstairs to his father. Minato was busy doing his paperwork when he heard the door open and looked up to see his son. Naru, when did you wake up? Minato asked. "2-chan, I'm hungry. Can we have dinner now?" Naruto blurted out immediately. He then rubbed his head sheepishly. "Just give me a few minutes, okay? We'll go out to Ichiraku Ramen." Naruto smiled upon hearing his father say that and ran to his room to get dressed. So much of useless paperwork. I don't know if it ever gets over. Minato cursed. For the past few hours all he had been doing was sit on this chair and sign away the papers. Most of it was requests made for random tasks by the civilians. He realized just thinking about it wouldn't get his job done any faster. He went through the remaining documents on his desk to check if anything required his immediate attention and then made a kage bunshin with no hand sign and ordered it to finish rest of the paperwork. The clone gave Minato a glare and begrudgingly got to doing the work. Meanwhile, Minato walked out of the room with a smirk thinking, I doubt anyone ever thought about using clones to get the job done faster. Even though Minato could have used the kage bunshins to do the work the entire time, he only used it when he had other important things to do. Most of the time, he had to go through the papers himself in case it was an important document. Minato went down towards the main door to see Naruto waiting there quite impatiently. It still amused him, how much his son loved ramen. It was among the few things which could make his son act his own age. "Ready to go, Naru?" he asked looking at Naruto. "Hi 2-chan. Come on, let's hurry up," Naruto exclaimed. He held on to his father's hand and both walked out of the house towards the only ramen store in Konohagakure no Sato. It was a cold night in the village hidden in the leaves. It was the month of November and snow was yet to fall. There was a strong wind blowing, because of which most of the civilians were already inside their house. There were several Anbu as well as normal shinobi were strolling the streets of the village. Most of the clan houses were on the outskirts of the village, which seemed quite desolate at nights. The Namikaze compound was on the far east side of the village near the Uchiha compound. Even though several questions regarding to move the Uchiha clan further away from their original place was raised after the Kyuubi attack, Minato dissolved any further discussions on the matter with an absolute no. Even if Minato wasn't raised by the Uchiha clan or did not abide by their laws, he was still born in Uchiha. He may not like some people of the clan, but they were still part of Konoha and he wouldn't want to watch them get isolated from the village integrity or be moved from the grounds where they have lived since the founding days of the village. Minato and Naruto walked out of the Namikaze compound and made their way towards the shop. Along the way, the father and son duo made ideal talks about what they will be doing tomorrow and certain points about Naruto's start of training. It was mostly Naruto doing the talking and Minato listening to his 4-year-old boy talk. Naruto, himself felt slightly excited at the prospect of becoming a shinobi. He knew it wouldn't be easy, but he knew he could do it. He wanted to become powerful. He had heard stories of his grandfather's battle prowess and it captivated him to think someone so powerful could ever exist. It may be childish to think, but he did promise himself, "I will become stronger than anyone this world has ever seen." Unconsciously he gripped his father's hand tighter. Minato noticed his son's face as they were nearing the shop and saw how calm he looked as his tilted head gazed at the night sky. "I wish you were here to see him, Kushina," he thought. Both the father and son were brought out of their thoughts as they realized they had reached the ramen shop. "Hokage-sama, Naruto-kun," said both Chuki and Ayame as they saw Minato and Naruto come inside the shop. The father and son then took a seat as they greeted the two ramen store owners. "Chuki and Ayame, how many times have I told you not to call me with formalities? You guys have known me for years," Minato said. "It's only the right thing to do, Hokage-sama," said Chuki with a sly grin. Minato sighed knowing it wouldn't do any good. Ayame looked at Naruto and asked, "Naruto-kun, what would you have today?" "The same as always." Naruto nodded quickly as he was starting to get really hungry. "I will have the same as Naru, Ayame." "So, make it 2 miso ramen," Minato added. The two chefs went inside the kitchen and started making the food. After a few minutes, Ayame came out with 2 steaming hot bowls of ramen and kept it in front of Minato and Naruto. Naruto inhaled the delicious aroma of the food and started gulping it down and finished it in a matter of few seconds. Minato, who was watching him eat, sweat dropped at how quickly his son finished it. He definitely got his ramen addiction and table manners from Kushina, Minato thought. Minato too finished his bowl in the next few minutes, and the pair left the store back to their house after bidding the two chefs goodnight for the night. Itachi Uchiha, a 9-year black-haired boy and the eldest son of the current Uchiha clan head. Regarded as the genius of the Uchiha clan, he graduated from the Shinobi Academy of the village within a year. At top of his class. But one of the main things that made the boy so special was the fact that he had awakened the Sharingan at the mere age of 7. Many from the Uchiha clan as well as the village had great expectations from the boy. Even though Itachi was subjugated to so much praise from everyone, he never let any of it get to his head. He was among very few humble shinobi within the clan. He was kind and gentle. Something which a small part of the Uchiha clan members disliked but did not say anything, for he was the son of the clan head. He became a genin at the age of 7, and soon enough the next year he was promoted to chunin during the chunin exams held in Konohagakure no Sato. He was returning from his border patrol duty when he saw the Hokage and his son walking back towards their home. Seeing as he was going back home too, he decided to walk with them. He jumped down from the tree he was standing on and started to make his way towards them when he saw Naruto stop suddenly and look at his direction. His eyes widened a bit at that. As Minato and Naruto were walking back home, Minato saw Naruto abruptly stop and look behind him. Minato, confused for a while, was about to speak when he felt a presence approach them. Soon enough, he saw Itachi walking towards them in his shinobi gear. Minato looked at his son with surprising eyes. A sensor. His sensing ability has to be extremely great to able to sense Itachi. Minato then looked at Itachi and said, "Itachi, coming back from the border patrol, I presume?" "Yes, Hokage-sama. I was relieved from my duty by Shisui," Itachi replied politely. He then looked at Naruto with his ever so calm and stoic face as he thought about the incident a few minutes ago. "This is my son, Naruto Namikaze. I believe you have met him before, have you not?" Minato asked as he saw Itachi staring at Naruto. Itachi looked at Minato and nodded. "I have seen him a few times walking around the village by himself. But not that often. Although my mother did tell me a lot about Naruto-kun." Even though Itachi and Sasuke have both visited the Namikaze estate along with their parents on many occasions, Naruto often stayed inside his room reading books on various shinobi lands and the history of ninjutsu. So, it was only Makoto who went up to Naruto's room to have a talk with him while Fugaku and his son sat downstairs in the living room with Minato. "Hokage-sama, what is Naruto-kun's age?" Itachi asked. Minato raised an eyebrow upon hearing the question, but had a suspicion as to what it was about. "He's 4 years and a month now." Naruto, who was standing beside his father, just kept quiet all this time and stared at the boy who was talking to his two-chan. He knew who Itachi was as he had seen him at his house on many occasions and has heard several shinobi talking about the Uchiha prodigy. Itachi's eyes again widened upon hearing that. To have such great sensing abilities at such a young age. "I know my chakra was kept suppressed." Minato saw Itachi's shocked look for a second and knew what he was thinking. "He's quite special, Hokage-sama. It's already surprising to see a 4-year-old boy to have unlocked his chakra," Itachi said as he saw Naruto smile at his comment. Minato nodded as he glanced at his son from where he was standing. "How is little Sasuke doing, Itachi?" "He's doing well, Hokage-sama. In fact, he will be starting his ninja training soon." He looked at Naruto for a second and turned his gaze back to Minato and thought over a matter. "Maybe I should bring Sasuke to meet with Naruto-kun over at your place someday later. They could become good friends with each other and could possibly develop a friendly rivalry," Itachi said. Minato knew Naruto did not have many friends his age. He would often take him to the park, but most he did was talk a few lines with other children. He asked him the reason on many occasions, but all he got for a reply was, "I don't know, two-chan. They all just look at me like I'm different." It made him sad knowing how his son was treated in the village by the civilians and shinobis who lost their families on that night. But there was very little he could do to make an entire village get over the grief and loss they faced 4 years ago. Thus, his face formed a smile upon hearing the prospect of Naruto meeting someone his age and befriending him. "Will he also look at me differently like the other people?" It was Naruto who spoke. Both Itachi and Minato could note the tiny glimpse of sadness in his voice. Surprisingly, Itachi bent down to Naruto's eye level and grasped his shoulders firmly with both his hands and said, "No, Naruto-kun. Sasuke wouldn't look at you that way. Also, it shouldn't matter what others think of you. They don't know you personally and you don't know them personally. You are special, Naruto-kun. You have a power within you, which others don't. People don't understand what they don't know and tend to fear it. So, do not make that face." Naruto was a bit surprised on hearing that. He looked at his father and saw him smile. He turned to Itachi with a small smile and said, "Thank you, Itachi-san." Itachi got up from his position and looked up at the sky to see the moon's position. "It's getting quite late, Hokage-sama. I should probably leave now. Apologizes to keep you occupied for so long," he said. "It's no problem, Itachi. Tell Fugaku and Makoto to come to our house sometime too," Minato said. Naruto felt happy that he would get to meet Makoto again. He remembered how the nice lady used to come and talk to him. Many of the books which he has now were gifted to him by his auntie. "Of course, Hokage-sama." Itachi then looked at Naruto and said, "It was good meeting you, Naruto-kun. I will come along with Sasuke sometime later to meet with you again." He bowed to Minato once and disappeared in a swirl of leaves to his home. "That was such a cool technique. Tu-chan, do you think you can teach me that?" Naruto asked excitedly. Minato smiled seeing his son's reaction and just settled for nodding. He took Naruto's hand in his own and they walked back towards the Namikaze compound. Ninjutsu. An abomination created by the humans to wage wars. That was not what he had taught when he was alive. That was not the intended purpose. He sought to bring peace. He sought to connect people through chakra. Hence, he shared his unique chakra with others in the hope that humankind could better understand each other. Alas, humans are such fickle beings. His own son, Indra, had disregarded everything his teaching stood for. Everything he sought to protect. After he died, he had hoped his younger son, Ashura, could convince his brother to leave the path of darkness. That, however, could not be possible in their current life. He knew how powerful his two sons' chakra was. It could be considered near omnipotent, yet, nowhere near his own. He saw his two sons' chakra transmigrate in two other shinobi generations later. Yet again, he hoped these two could resolve the feud his two sons had begun. However, again, he was proved wrong. He knew he shouldn't have cast his attention away from Indra. But Ashura reminded him so much of himself. His younger son's ideals were exactly like his. To bring peace through love. While Indra too wanted the same thing, but differently. He wanted to dominate. This world did not need another person like his mother. So, he decided to give his son the power which he knew Ashura would use for the better. That was his first mistake. Unconsciously embracing one while neglecting the other. He knew his son's chakra would not rest until the feud was resolved and hence knew they would again transmigrate. Years later he again felt it. Ashura and Indra's chakra transmigrating. But he was surprised when they chose one vessel. He did not know the name of the human who they chose. However, he could feel this child was the descendant of both Indra and Ashura. He could only see foggy images. Blonde hair, blue eyes and his eyes widened slightly. Could he be? He asked himself. The prophecy his friend spoke to him about. He smiled, knowing his friend couldn't be wrong. This time he knew what he had to do. He would not cast his attention away from Indra. They were both his sons. He loved them both equally. It pained him to see the generations-long fight between them and it pained him to see the world so angry and so helpless. It pained him at how his other 9 children were treated by the humans. However, he could not bring himself to hate them. Humans fear what they do not understand. He would give the world someone to put their trust in again. He would give the child what is rightfully his. And so, when the child was born, he brought forth his shakuho and effectively gave the blonde boy his yin and yang chakra, which mixed with the boy's, forming chakra coils and essentially making it his own chakra. He smiled as he saw the sun mark on his tiny right hand and the half-crescent moon mark on his left hand pulsate for a second and vanish, set for the child to be seen when he reaches deep within his soul. He heard his eldest child, Kurama, scream in agony when his yin chakra was ripped from him and his yang half sealed inside the blonde infant. He couldn't let his eldest go down a path filled with hatred. He reached Kurama within the boy's mindscape and immediately calmed him down with one touch of his hand. He knew he didn't have much time in the realm of mortals. And before he disappeared from this realm, he told his eldest his last words, "Help him, Kurama. This child will be different. He is destined for greatness, the likes of which have never been seen. Guide him along the right path. Save him in his dark times and stand alongside him in his brighter ones. The child of prophecy has taken birth." Kurama smiled hearing his father's words. "So, the time has come, Rakuto Jiji. No harm shall come to this boy so long as I'm here in this world." The fox said with conviction present in its voice. Hagoromo knew this time, the world would change. This time, the world will have her savior. Humanity will have its savior. He could rest now and watch the blonde boy's story unfold. Next day, Namikaze compound, Konohagakure no Sato. He could feel it. He could feel everything around him and it was mesmerizing. Naruto sat at the back gardens of his compound in a lotus position and was meditating. His face a picture of perfect calmness. His two-chan told him this morning that meditation was necessary for a shinobi. It helped one keep calm and their head clear of stray thoughts. Especially, it made one aware of their surroundings. So, it's been around an hour that Naruto's been sitting in a lotus position. The village had a calm breeze blowing through it. Naruto's jaw-length bangs flowed with the breeze calmly. Naruto himself felt at extreme peace. He could feel his surroundings. He could feel the people's emotions. He understood them. It made him happy how peaceful the village was. He could feel chakra. The chakra flowing in the world. In the trees. In the air. In the animals. In the lake in his garden. It's everywhere. He thought giddy with excitement. He never felt so wonderful before. It felt so pure. More so than his own chakra. It felt so fresh. It was filled with life energy. He wanted to feel it. So, he reached out for it and let it enter his body. He immediately felt refreshed and was in sync with the world. He smiled. He couldn't describe the feeling. It was omnipotent. His senses were even more heightened now. Unknown to Naruto, his entire body was covered in chakra. A brilliant shade of purple. He was radiating so much life energy around him. The flowers were blooming. The grass and trees were growing at a rapid pace. The birds were chirping. The squirrels were now surrounding nearby him. It was a picturesque sight. In one word, it was aesthetic. His chakra was so warm and welcoming that it was felt by everyone. Naruto's chakra covered the entire village in a thin blanket of calmness. It felt as bright as the sun. Every civilian and shinobi alike felt it and immediately stopped what they were doing. They did not know what it was, but they could feel it was powerful and commanding. Yet, instead of making them fall on their knees, it made them feel rejuvenated. It was touching every part of their body, every cell in it, and they could feel how incredible it was. Minato and Kakashi, who were there inside the Hokage's office, felt it too. Both knew the chakra signature and grew slightly worried as to why he was releasing such copious amounts of chakra. Minato immediately held Kakashi and disappeared to the Namikaze compound in a yellow flash. Minato and Kakashi quickly made their way towards the gardens, and when they reached, their eyes widened at the sight in front of them. Naruto was creating nature. Minato activated his Sharingan and Kakashi pulled his headband up to see what exactly it was that Naruto was doing. Sensei. Naruto, he's pulling chakra from the nature around him. Isn't that? Kakashi said while not being able to comprehend whether what he was seeing was true or not. Minato was in no different position. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. His son, only 4 years old, was doing something neither Jiraiya nor he could master completely, even after years of training. Senjutsu, yes, Kakashi. Naruto is using senjutsu, Minato said in a whisper. Naruto, who was yet to move from his position, had felt his father and Kakashi the moment they had arrived here. He decided to test something out which was there in his mind. He willed a part of his chakra around him to form into a hand and waved at the two shinobi present. Naruto slowly opened his eyes and the intake of chakra from the nature into his body stopped. The chakra swirling around his body, too, receded back. He looked at his two-chan and his ni-chan and saw their incredulous faces. He gave them a questioning look, signifying them that he had idea what he did just now. Minato glanced towards Kakashi once and both the Hokage and the Anbu captain moved towards the 4-year-old child. Naru, what were you doing just now? Minato asked in a kind voice. Kakashi stood beside his sensei and gave his brother-like figure one of his eye smiles and a wave of his hands. Oh, that. I was feeling chakra two-chan. It felt so amazing. I could feel chakra everywhere. It felt like a never-ending thing. I could also feel everyone in the village. Even you and Kakashi Ni-chan. It's like I knew where everyone was. What their emotions were. Naruto said in an excited voice while the two shinobi just listened with dumbfounded expressions. Naruto folded his hands over his chest and seemed to think over something for a while and gave a wide smile. I know. I felt like I could communicate with nature. Yes, that's it. Isn't that cool too, Chan? Kakashi Ni-chan. In all their experiences, they had never come across anything such as this. Had someone told them that a 4-year-old child could use senjutsu effortlessly, they would have just laughed at them. However, witnessing Naruto do it right in front of them, they found the words stuck in their mouth. It should be inconceivable, yet the proof was right in front of their eyes. Minato soon got out of his stupor and bent to Naruto's eye level. Yes, that is indeed amazing, Naru. But do you have an idea as to how you did it just now? Well, I was just meditating as you told me in the morning, and then I could just feel the chakra around myself. It felt so pure and different than my own that I felt inclined to touch it. Then, I just let it enter my body. Naruto said with a wide smile. You really have no idea what you just did, Naruto. Both Minato and Kakashi thought. Naruto, what you were doing right now was using senjutsu. The chakra present in the nature, or in general the chakra present in the atmosphere of the world, is called nature chakra or senjutsu chakra. Not everyone can do this, Naruto. It's a very difficult aspect to master. Jiraiya-sama and Minato-sensei are the only one that I know of who can do it. And I'm sure, even they took some time to grasp senjutsu. Kakashi spoke seriously. Naruto's eyes widened greatly, understanding the implications of Kakashi's words, and couldn't help but smile. He didn't boast himself for doing something incredible. Instead, he was merely glad he had something more in common with his 2-chan and Jiraiya Oji-chan. Meanwhile, Minato looked at his son with nothing but pride in his eyes. He remembered the prophecy his sensei once told him about a blue-eyed boy who would change the world for the better, and somehow he knew it was his Naru. After what he witnessed his son do today, he had to be, and he was going to make sure he would stay by his son's side through it all. The Yondaime got up from his crouched position and motioned for Naruto to get up too. Come on, Naruto, let's get back inside the house. You could go to Ichiraku Ramen for lunch. You must be hungry after what you did just now. Minato said as Naruto, Kakashi and he made their way inside the house. Naruto said, nodding his head vigorously. The moment the three reached inside the house, Naruto said goodbye to his father and Kakashi and ran to Ichiraku Ramen stand to have his favorite meal. Minato and Kakashi couldn't help but laugh a bit at his enthusiasm towards eating ramen. Unknown to all three of them as of now, Naruto's hand had pulsed softly earlier, engraving 2 images on his hands that would change the future drastically. The sun mark on his right hand and the half-crescent moon mark on his left hand. Sensei? Kakashi asked, gaining Minato's attention. Seeing the look on his student's face, he understood what he was meaning to ask. I know, Kakashi. His chakra was felt by everyone within the village. No doubt there's going to be a council meeting regarding this soon. He said. His voice showed that he was not too happy about it. What are you going to do, Sensei? Are you going to tell them the truth? We should also inform Jiraiya-sama about this as soon as possible. Kakashi said. I don't know yet, Kakashi. I should discuss matters with Jiraiya-sensei and the Toad summons first before I reach any conclusion. Naruto's innate ability to use senjutsu baffles even me. I have never seen anything like this before. Minato said as he exhaled a deep sigh. This was a serious matter. One that could have untold implications on the elemental nations. Kakashi nodded, deciding not to say anything more. Both shinobi exited the Namikaze compound and went back to the Hokage tower. Minato to do his accursed paperwork, and Kakashi to read and giggle over his perverted little orange book. 2 months later, Jiraiya had arrived within the village in the next 2 days to meet with the 2 Namikaze as soon as he had received a message from one of his Toad summons regarding Naruto's ability to use senjutsu. Minato had written a detailed message to the Gamma Sennin about what he had felt and what he had seen Naruto do. To say Jiraiya was shocked would be an understatement. When he had witnessed his godson utilizing senjutsu chakra, he just couldn't believe his eyes. It shouldn't be possible. Yet, he He knew his eyes and his years of training in senjutsu was not deceiving him. However, instead of denying what was right in front of his eyes, it just made his belief stronger that his godson was the one. The sun and half-crescent moon mark on Naruto's hands were noticed by both Minato and Jiraiya when they got down to teaching him the intricacies of senjutsu. Naruto himself did not know what these marks represented, but he could feel that the sun represented his brighter chakra whereas the moon represented his darker one. Upon hearing that, Minato theorized, Naruto's yang chakra was represented by the sun and his yin chakra was represented by the half-crescent moon. It was surprising for the 2-cage level shinobi as to why it was that Naruto had those marks. Every person has chakra, even civilians, and chakra is made of two halves, that is yin and yang. They balance each other always. So, for Naruto to manifest his yin and yang chakra in such a way made them believe that his chakra was somehow special compared to rest of the humans. Soon after that, Naruto was introduced to the Toad summons. He was extremely excited that he would get to use the same summons like his 2-chan and Jiraiya Oji-chan. For a few days, a week, Naruto would usually spend time either with his father or the Toads at Mount Myoboku to further delve into the complicities of senjutsu. Jiraiya, being a spy master, rarely spent a lot of time in village. His information gathering was important for the village. While training Naruto, it was also noted that, the blonde had exceptional control over his chakra. When he was given the tree walking exercise, it took Naruto merely about half an hour to get it done. With the water walking exercise, it took the blonde slightly longer, but he had completed it in record time, stunning the Yondaime and the Sharingan no Kakashi. Later, he was introduced to more advanced chakra control exercises, such as kunai balancing, separating different colors of sand particles from a mixture in less than 10 seconds, and they were left astonished since Naruto completed those exercises in not even less than 2 days. Tsunade Senju, daughter of Hashirama Senju and Mito Uzumaki and one of the Densetsu no Sanin, is hailed as the greatest medical ninja of this era. Her chakra control is something which can only be aspired and dreamt of by others. Yet, Naruto, a 4-year-old boy, had such great control over his chakra it was deemed to be on par with Tsunade. And as Naruto grows up, it would only get better. Naruto was literally a sponge. Everything that was taught to him, he soaked it up immediately. It was astonishing and slightly scary, the rate at which he was picking up things which should not be possible. In the past 2 months, Naruto had already mastered several of the lower-level jutsu that was taught to him. Some of them being henge transformation, kawirami substitution, sunshin no jutsu teleportation jutsu, and a variation of the bunshin no jutsu clone jutsu called kage bunshin no jutsu shadow clone jutsu. The kage bunshin no jutsu was a kinjutsu which was created by the Nadaime Hokage of Konohagakure no Sato. This jutsu divides the caster's chakra in the number of clones the caster wishes to create. While it was not an issue for Naruto to make a normal bunshin, he was mainly taught the jutsu as it had more practical uses on the battle field as well as while training. Seeing as how Naruto had exceptional chakra control, he was also introduced to few beginner medical ninjutsu, such as Shoshin Jutsu mystical palm technique. Kakashi and Minato were hailed as the greatest prodigies ever of their time. Seeing Naruto train often, left them wondering how much a prodigy they were. Their latent talent was nothing compared to the little boy. Naruto was on his way to become a shinobi the likes of which were never seen in history. Seeing Naruto's growth rate and his talent, Kakashi had suggested Minato to put Naruto in Anbu to better utilize his skills. That was a mistake. Minato had outright disregarded the idea. He reasoned his son may be different from the other children his age, but he deserved to have a normal childhood for as long as possible. Minato was not going to throw his only son in a world of bloodshed so early in his life. It was a warm sunny day in Konohagakure no Sato. It was around 1 in the afternoon and the market streets of the village were bustling with activity. There were people going in and out of shops, either purchasing materials for themselves or pawning their personal items for some money. The shinobi were jumping over the rooftops, either going to complete their missions or towards the Hokage Tower to receive more missions. Naruto had just finished having some food at the ramen stand after his morning workout and was heading towards one of the secluded area within the forests for some more training. Minato and Kakashi had told Naruto that he had to get his physique in shape for the taijutsu katas that he was learning from the scroll given to him by his 2-chan. The scroll contained the interceptor fist, the taijutsu style used by Madara Uchiha. It relied on fast reflexes and studying the opponent's movements first and reacting to them in a quick span of time. While for most Uchiha, their Sharingan is an integral part in their taijutsu moves, Naruto is taught to consider the Sharingan as merely an accessory tool. The Sharingan is only supposed to decipher the subtle movements and give an edge in hand-to-hand combat. But if one can do that without the use of the Sharingan, it gives one much greater reflexes while using it. Every morning, Naruto would wake up and do 15 laps around the Namikaze compound. From there he moved to 50 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 50 pull-ups and end it with 100 punches and kicks on a training dummy placed in the training grounds inside his compound. Every week he would add 5 laps more and 50 more to each of the exercise. He had gotten the inspiration from Kakashi when he told Naruto that he used to do similar exercises when he began his ninja training, which was around the same time as the blonde boy. So currently, Naruto was walking towards the forested area behind one of the playgrounds near the Hokage Tower when he heard a girl crying. Few minutes earlier, Sakura Haruno, a 4-year-old girl, was an aspiring ninja. Both her parents were veteran shinobi who could not pursue their shinobi career after the Third Great Ninja War. Her father, Kazashi Haruno, was an above-average shinobi who was extremely adept in using genjutsu, while her mother, Mebuki Haruno, was a medical ninja. Ever since she had known, she loved to read books. She often went to the Konoha library and borrowed books regarding basic medical knowledge, shinobi life and the history of elemental nations from the civilian sections. Being more of a book nerd, Sakura had yet to start any physical training. Today, she was returning from library after borrowing books which spoke about the granddaughter of the Shodai Hokage, Tsunade Senju, and how she brought about a revolutionary change in the field of medicine. It was a warm afternoon today, so she decided to take a longer route and go through the park near the Hokage monument. As she was walking back to her home, she didn't realize that there were several boys few years older than her who were looking at her funny and making fun of her huge forehead and bright pink hair. One of the boys went behind her back and pushed her down. Sakura screamed lightly as she fell quite uncharacteristically. The book she was holding lay beside her and her hair had become a mess. "Look at your huge forehead. It's bigger than your head. Ha ha. What a weird girl," said the boy who had pushed her down as he laughed. The 2 other boys who were there with him joined him and also started laughing at the pink-haired girl. Even though Sakura was quite self-conscious about her forehead, she tried not to let it get to her when someone made fun of her. So just like most of the time, she ignored the bullies and went to reach for her book which was lying beside her. Just when she was about to reach it, the second boy snatched it and read the title out loud. "General Medical Knowledge Tsunade Senju." "Read," the boy out loud. "Gee, give me my book back," whimpered Sakura under the fierce gaze of the boys in front of her. He then looked at her as if she was a freak and mocked her by saying, "So, you want to become a ninja? How would you ever become one with such big forehead and that ugly pink hair? I mean, who even has pink hair? It's just plain weird." He smirked when he saw her eyes became a bit wet and started crying slowly. He threw the book at her which hit her arm. Sakura, who was down on the ground, picked up her book slowly, only wished someone came to help her. She just didn't know how close her help was. With Naruto. He moved closer towards the sound and saw a small girl around his age with hair a bright color of pink and holding a green-colored book in her hands. He noticed she had an above-average size forehead, but found it cute for some reason. Then he scowled a bit seeing as there were 3 boys obviously elder than her and they bullying her. He immediately rushed towards the girl and stood in front defiantly. The 3 boys were a bit surprised at seeing the blonde. They didn't even see him come. "Oi, what do you think you're doing? Move away from her," Naruto said a bit coldly. Sakura looked at the boy who stood before her and her eyes widened. The boys flinched a bit hearing his voice but didn't move however. The boy who had pushed Sakura down stepped forward and said, "Who do you think you are? You can't just boss us around. Look at that freak anyway. Ugly hair and forehead." For reasons unknown to Naruto, he felt angry hearing the boy call her freak. He remembered how he felt when the villagers often whispered demon, monster, traitor and words such as that when he walked around the village. He didn't want anyone else to feel like that. Through his negative emotion sensing, he understood how the girl felt. Scared, weak, and it made the blonde furious. He brought his index and middle finger of his right hand joined together before his face and willed 4-Kage Bunshin into existence. Naruto could feel the shock in the three boys' minds and how afraid they felt as of now. He smiled inwardly when he felt the girl feeling hopeful. Sakura could only watch and wonder as the blonde boy before her, who was most likely the same age as her, performed ninjutsu so easily. "I'm Naruto Namikaze. Now leave, before I make you," he said in a commanding voice. Sakura's and the three boys' eyes widened learning that the blonde was the Yondaime Hokage's son. The boys took a few steps back in fear, immediately turned back and ran as fast as they could from the blonde and the girl. Naruto felt proud that he could scare away the bullies from the innocent girl. Remembering about the girl, he turned around to see the girl staring at her in amazement and admiration. Naruto saw the book the girl was carrying on the ground and picked it up. He dusted it off and handed the book back to the girl, who gave him a small smile. He saw how her cheeks were slightly red, but thought that she must be feeling quite hot. "Are you okay?" asked Naruto in a kind voice. Hi," Sakura said, blushing a bit. "You know, medical ninjutsu is pretty cool. I'm learning a bit myself with my 2-chan's help," Naruto exclaimed. Sakura knew not many children her age found interest in medical field, so it was surprising for her to hear Naruto say that. Realizing that he didn't know her name yet, he asked her, "Well, what is your name?" Sakura looked at his face and how his blonde hair fell over his forehead and covered his right eye. Sakura broke out of her gaze, realizing that she was staring at him. "Sakura Haruno," the girl replied hastily. She felt her cheeks turn a bit red and immediately ran back to her house. Naruto was extremely confused at the girl's attitude. He could feel the girl didn't have any feelings of detestation or fearfulness towards him and ran away because she was feeling extremely shy. He just shrugged his shoulders and decided to go back home instead of more training. 1 year later, Naruto stood in a clearing deep within the forests of Konohagakure No Sato, on the west side of the village. It was early afternoon and no one was around currently. Naruto stared at a tall thick tree he had picked. "From what I remember thinking earlier, I must transfer considerable amount of chakra in my fist and hold it there." Naruto inhaled deeply and calmed his breathing. "If I'm correct, I can make my chakra take the form of a larger fist over my hand and then use it as a large-scale attack." Naruto brought his hand up perpendicular to his body and closed it, forming a fist. He closed his eyes to concentrate. He then let the natural energy flowing in the world enter his body swiftly and started feeling the flow of his chakra in his body. He willed some of it to concentrate over his hand. He started visualizing what he wanted and suddenly large amounts of potent purple chakra started manifesting around Naruto's arms. The chakra took the shape of a large arm around Naruto's own small arm and he smiled. For the past few hours, he had been thinking about a taijutsu technique that could be used as a large-scale attack. He had the idea in his mind but couldn't execute it properly. He closed his hand into a fist and the chakra manifested arm too folded its hand to form a fist. Naruto pulled his arm back and thrust it forward in a quick pace. What happened next came as a surprise to him, although it did make him smile at the result. The moment the chakra arm contacted the tree, it broke into several pieces and some of it flew back several hundred yards and formed a narrow crater along the path of the flying tree. He rubbed the back of his head sheepishly with his free hand and thought, "I might need to use less chakra next time I plan to use this." He looked up at sky and saw that it was only afternoon. He decided to just lay down with his eyes closed and rest for a while after so much thinking and training. A few hours later, a black-haired boy sat on the branches of a high tree. His hair was wild and spiky and wore high-collared black shirt. His eyes were looking at the resting form of one Naruto Namikaze. His black onyx eyes then scanned the area around the blonde carefully to search for anything out of place. He looked up to the sky for a few seconds. It will be sunset soon. He had been ordered by the Hokage to keep an eye on his son for the entire coming week. This was due to several Iwagakure shinobi still lurking around the borders of the Land of Fire. It was dangerous for Naruto to be alone, especially near the borders of the village. Hence, the 5-year-old blonde was given a shinobi to guard him as a precaution, even though Naruto was capable enough of handling several high-skilled shinobi on his own. The Iwagakure shinobi were another matter that surfaced in the past few months. Apparently, several missing ninjas from Iwagakure were spotted on the borders between the Land of Grass and the Land of Fire. A few of them were killed by the Anbu patrolling the borders as a sign of warning, yet more kept invading the borders. Even though the shinobi were portraying themselves as missing ninjas, Minato was wary and skeptical of them. He wouldn't put it past the stubborn Onoki to use underhanded tactics such as sending official Iwa shinobi disguised as missing ninjas to invade Konoha and at the same time have the pathetic excuse for deniability. Minato and Iwagakure never got along well with each other. Before the start of the Third Shinobi World War, Iwa had tried kidnapping his wife Kushina for the sole purpose of the Kyuubi. It enraged him that a village already having two Biju with them would try to steal one from another. He had killed off the shinobi involved in the incident during that time and had shown Iwagakure not to take Konohagakure lightly at the end of the Third Shinobi War. It was the Third Ninja War that gave rise to the Yellow Flash of Konoha, and the name still strikes fear in the shinobi of Iwagakure. The shinobi guarding the blonde looked back at Naruto eventually after his gaze left the evening sky. Let's see if the Yondaime's legacy is as good as I was told. He took out two kunai from within his pouch and held them between his left hand's fingers. He looked towards Naruto once again and threw the kunai straight at him. When the two kunai smashed into the blonde boy resting on the ground, his eyes widened at the unexpected results. The Naruto that was lying on the ground disappeared in a cloud of smoke. Suddenly, he felt cold metal touch the base of his neck. Naruto, who was now standing behind the surprised shinobi, with the tip of his kunai touching his neck, asked in a serious tone. "Who are you, Shinobi-san?" Previously, the Naruto that was lying on the ground disappeared in a cloud of smoke. Suddenly, he felt cold metal touch the base of his neck. Naruto, who was now standing behind the surprised shinobi with the tip of his kunai touching his neck, asked in a serious tone. "Who are you, Shinobi-san?" Present. A Kage Bunshin. Shisui thought, amazed. So, Itachi wasn't kidding about his sensing abilities. He must have known I was here from the start. The kid's probably better than many of the veteran sensor shinobi. Naruto could feel how surprised the shinobi was and couldn't blame him. It's not every day you see a 5-year-old evade an attack with such ease. Although Naruto knew the shinobi in front of him had no ill intentions, he wished to know why it was he was attacked. He saw the raven-haired boy turn his head slightly back and saw him smirk. Naruto was confused as to why the shinobi would be smirking, and within a span of less than a second, Shisui was now standing down on the ground, arms folded over his chest and looking at Naruto with a playful smirk. "You're indeed good, Naruto-kun. I can see why Itachi speaks so highly of you," Shisui said with a smile. Now Naruto was surprised. He had never seen anyone perform a Sunshin so effectively and at such an incredible speed. He thought he had the raven-haired boy cornered. Now he knew how wrong he was. As Naruto stood on the branch of the tree, he looked at the boy. He had short, unkempt, raven-colored hair, black eyes and a relatively broad nose and well-defined eyelashes that were turned upwards at each end. He wore the standard attire of the Uchiha clan, which included a high-collared, dark-colored outfit along with a tanto strapped to the right side of the back of his shoulder. He also wore what appeared to be a harness for his tanto, which ran across his chest and fastened over both his shoulders. "Are you Shisui Uchiha?" Naruto asked as he too sunshined in front of the boy. "Oh, you know of me." He was amused that someone as young as Naruto knew of him, despite him being Hokage's son. "Hi. Itachi told me about you." Naruto gave a small smile as he remembered hearing about the Sunshin no Shisui from his brother-like figure. Shisui nodded as he sat down on the ground. He looked at little boy and patted the area next to him. Knowing what he was being asked, Naruto went and sat next to Shisui. Shisui once again stared at the boy. Earlier, when Itachi told him about Naruto's natural aptitude in the shinobi arts, he was slightly reluctant to believe about the boy's prodigal talents, even if he has the blood of Hokage-level shinobi running through his veins. The kid's only 5, he had thought. But seeing how he evaded his attack a few minutes ago with a well-thought-out plan and even surprising him with his moves later, he couldn't help but be amazed. The way the blonde talked and seemed to keep his guard up spoke volumes of how far ahead he was compared to the rest of his generation. Thinking of that brought a small frown on his face. "Gomen, Naruto-kun," he said in a whisper, but loud enough for the blonde to hear. Naruto saw the sad smile Shisui put on his face. But he saw something else too. It was the same smile he saw on his two Chan, Jiraiya Oji-chan and Kakashi Ni-san at times. It's as if they were apologizing to him for something out of their reach. He never understood it. Why would they look at him like that? Was it because of the overwhelming amount of chakra that was inside of him that felt much different than his own? He had a vague idea as to who it belonged to, but he never thought much about it. He believed his two-chan would tell him once the time was right. Naruto turned his head away from him and laid on the grass on his back. He could see the moon and how majestic the sky looked around it. Slightly red with a tint of orange in it. Although, his gaze lingered on the moon a bit longer. He didn't understand why, but he always felt a connection to the moon. Why would you say that and look at me that way? Naruto finally asked after a bit of silence. Shisui too looked back towards the sky. He shifted slightly back with his elbows behind him on ground. You're different from other kids, Naruto. Kids your age normally play outside, laugh from time to time and run around. Meanwhile, you train in the shinobi arts. You keep your guard up all the time. The way you think is far too astute. He explained. He looked back at Naruto with a soft smile on his face and put his hand on the little boy's head. I'm sorry, Naruto, that even during these times, you can't live like other kids your age. This shinobi world has a lot of darkness in it. But where there's darkness, there's always light. I'm sure you know of it, don't you? Shisui saw the slight confusion on Naruto's face and chuckled a bit. He ruffled his hair, earning a pout from the little 5-year-old and got back on his feet. What did you mean by that, Shisui-san? Naruto asked as he got up and stretched his arms to lose the slight stiffness in them. You will understand it someday, Naruto-kun. It's not my place to tell you. Shisui said as he started to walk back towards the village. Are you going to come or not? Naruto heard him say and quickly ran to his side. Hi. Naruto replied. As they were walking into the village, Naruto looked towards the older Uchiha and decided to voice his thoughts. Why were you here anyway, Shisui-san? I was asked by Hokage-sama to watch over you in case you were attacked by any Iwagakure shinobi. Naruto nodded in understanding. Jiraiya Oji-chan had told him how Iwagakure disliked Konoha because of his two-chan, Madara Sofu, and Konoha's position as the strongest among all the great shinobi villages, and that many of them were sighted near Konoha borders on numerous occasions. As they walked through the village, Shisui saw how some of the civilians glared at the boy and some whispered things which were not meant for a boy his age to be heard. He looked towards Naruto and was surprised to see him not being affected by any of it. It's okay, Shisui-san. I have been hearing them say such things ever since I could remember. It's not their fault. They fear what they don't understand, he said as a tired sigh escaped his lips and started walking at a faster pace towards his home. Shisui frowned at hearing that as he walked behind Naruto. He wanted to say something to him but decided to stay quiet. It was around 8 at night and the two were standing outside the Namikaze compound. Will we meet again, Shisui-san? Naruto asked hopefully. Shisui stared at the boy's eyes for a few seconds and smiled. Of course. Also, if you want, we could train together at times. Naruto nodded his head vigorously at the prospect of training with someone like him. Shisui smiled seeing Naruto act a bit his age. After he watched Naruto go inside the house, he sunshined to the Hokage's office to give his report to the Yondaime. Later at night, Namikaze compound. It was late at night, around 10:30, and Minato had just arrived after a long and boring day of work in the Hokage's office. Sometimes he wondered if the previous Hokage ever felt what he was feeling right now. Tired and exhausted. Not physically, but mentally. The position of the Hokage is an extremely tiring job. Listening to the civilians' demands, taking care of the paperwork, ensuring the welfare of the village, keeping the trades between Konoha and her allies steady, ensuring the needs of the shinobi under his command, ensuring Konoha's safety, and more paperwork. He was glad when Shisui came and reported that his son was home safely. With the increase in numbers of Iwa shinobi sightings near the borders of Land of Grass and Taki, he did not want to take a chance with Naruto's safety. Unknown to many, Minato had lost a lot of people in his life. He saw his mother die in front of him when he was 4 by some Omegakure shinobi. That was what led him to unlock his Sharingan. His father left him alone in the village when he was 5 years old. Several of his friends were brutally slaughtered during the Third Great Shinobi War by Iwagakure and Kurigakure shinobi. Even up to this day, he feels like breaking down when he thinks of Kushina's death. It was painful for him watch her leave his side. She was his light in this dark world. His father often told him to look for that special person with whom you're most comfortable and hold on to them. For him it was his son, Naruto, now. He loved Konoha dearly and would do anything to ensure her safety, but he would always pick Naruto first. He knew he may be acting selfish, but he could not afford to lose another person close to him. As Minato was walking towards his bedroom to get changed, he walked past the library and saw Naruto sitting on the small mat on his knees reading a book. His face showed how concentrated he was. He looked to his son's side and saw several more books stacked on top of each other. He smiled seeing Naruto so immersed in the books. His mind must be entirely focused in those books. I doubt he sensed that I'm here, Minato thought as he chuckled inwardly. Instead of going to his room, he decided to stay and see how long it would take his son to notice him. However, what he saw made him widen his eyes. Naruto. With Naruto. After Shisui had left, Naruto had walked straight to the library. It wasn't a very decorated room, considering it was the Hokage's personal library. The room consisted of 3 tall bookshelves on 3 sides of the walls filled with different types of books. However, most of the books were related to ninjutsu in general. There was a small cupboard near the door which consisted of fuinjutsu scrolls. There were 2 desks in the room. One which was slightly at the back and was normally used by Minato, and another in the middle with a lantern to its side. It was slightly smaller than the one Minato used. There was a small mat next to the smaller desk which Naruto used. Even though there were lamps inside the room, Naruto preferred to use the lantern to study. Hearing stories of how his grandfather studied during the era of warring clans, Naruto felt he should do something similar to his grandfather, in a way to feel closer to him. He was always enthralled when his two-chan told him stories of his grandfather. Despite of what others said about the former Uchiha clan head, he believed him to be a good man. Like any 5-year-old, he too wanted to imitate the one he admired a lot. Naruto had made a habit of reading books from a very young age. Whether it be about the history of Konohagakure, the history about the origins of ninjutsu, or the books related to chakra theory, he loved reading them all. So, here he sat again with a book on his desk. Elemental Chakra and Hand Signs, read the title of the book. He opened the book with a wide smile on his face and started to read the first page. As he read the book, he learnt about the different types of chakra nature. Them being Kaden, fire, Futon, wind, Sweden, water, Doden, earth, Raiden, lightning, and how each nature type is stronger than one and weaker than another. He learnt about 12 hand signs that are used to infuse chakra inside one's body to use jutsus Tori, bird, Yu, Ite, boar, Hai, Inu, dog, Shu, Tatsu, dragon, Shayan, Ushi, ox, Cho, Tora, tiger, Yin, Mi, snake, Si, Ne, rat, Z, Uma, horse, Wu, Suru, monkey, Shen, Yu, hare, Mao, and Hitsuji, ram, Wei, and the applications of each hand sign when performing elemental ninjutsu. The Tori hand sign is commonly associated with release of Futon chakra. The Inu hand sign commonly associated with release of Sweden-natured chakra. The Tora hand sign commonly associated with release of Kaden and Doden-natured chakra, and the release of Raiden-natured chakra is commonly associated with the Mi hand sign. The Mi hand sign can also be associated with the usage of Doden-natured chakra. He briefly wondered who it was that invented hand signs and decided to ask his two-chan later about it. He was so enthralled and focused on what he was reading he did not even notice the clock ticking or the fact that his two-chan stood outside the door watching him read. Or that's how he made it seem like. As Naruto finished reading the book, he had an idea in his mind he wanted to try out. He knew that his chakra control was extremely advanced, better than almost everyone in the village. Minato, Jiraiya and Kakashi probably the only ones who came close to him in that aspect. His two-chan and Jiraiya Oji-chan even went as far as to tell him it could only be matched by Tsunade Senju. For the past year, he was made to work on several different chakra control exercises to get him familiarized with them. Some of the medical ninja working in the hospital, who were close friends with Kushina, were quite fond of the little blonde and even taught him the theories and practical applications of slightly advanced medical ninjutsu, seeing his advanced chakra control. Apart from those, he was made to focus on taijutsu and the handling of weapons such as shuriken and kunai. Although it took some time to get his aim correct in throwing the shuriken and kunai, Naruto could now throw them with pinpoint accuracy after a few months of practice. Unknown to Minato, Naruto knew he was standing outside. Over the past year, his sensing abilities had increased dramatically. He could visualize the entirety of Konoha in his mind now if he wanted to. Knowing his 2-chan was watching him intently, he wanted to surprise him with what he had in his mind. Naruto sat in a meditative position with his eyes closed. He calmed his breathing and inhaled and exhaled at an even pace, letting the stray thoughts exit his mind. This was one of the most effective way to get one's chakra to flow in a desired way inside one's body. He then put his hands in the seal for meditation. It is done by placing the back of the right hand on the palm of the left and the thumbs of both hands touching each other with both hands resting on the lap. He stayed in that position for a few minutes and allowed his chakra to calm down. Naruto then slowly went through the hand signs Ne, Rat, Uchi, Ox, Tora, Tiger, and opened his eyes along with opening the palm of his right hand. Suddenly a small fire ignited on top of his open palm and a few seconds later Naruto willed it to stop. Minato, who was standing outside the door, widened his eyes upon seeing his son manipulate Kaden-natured chakra. "How far will you go, Naru?" He stared at Naruto with nothing but pure amazement in his eyes. He couldn't believe someone so young could manipulate elemental chakra so easily. After a few seconds of that, he chuckled softly as he realized his son always manages to do the impossible and surprise him every single time. "2-chan," Naruto exclaimed happily as he walked towards his father. "I see you have been busy, Naru," Minato said as he patted him on the head softly. "Wasn't it cool, 2-chan? I could manipulate fire. I remembered you telling me how most of the Uchiha were affiliated with Kaden nature." Naruto paused for a while and thought out loud. "I wonder if I can perform other nature types." Naruto replied as he got into his thinking pose. Minato laughed lightly watching his son. "Why don't we find out about it tomorrow, eh? It's getting late and you should sleep now. Remember what I told you, you have to rest your body properly as well as your mind." Hi, 2-chan, Naruto said as he ran to his bedroom. Next day, Namikaze compound. Kakashi was lazily standing next to a tree in the training ground of the Namikaze compound, giggling perversely while reading his orange book. Minato looked at his student and sighed for the umpteenth time. He never understood why his sensei wrote such and why people even read such a thing. He looked in front of himself and saw his son standing after completing his morning routine of physical exercises and taijutsu katas. He was proud and incredibly amazed at the rate which Naruto was learning things. He moved his hands through his silky blonde hair once and looked up at the sky and thought, "I wish you were here to see our son Kushina, you would be proud of him. Kakashi, give me some chakra paper. It's time we get started with Naruto's elemental training. He has learned the basics of what I had to teach him to the best of his abilities." Minato said as he asked the former Anbu captain to come near him. Kakashi raised an eyebrow at that. He was just told to come here early this morning, without any details of what he had to do from his sensei. He had helped Naruto at times with his training but he didn't think he would be ready for such advanced training so soon. He knew the blonde was a genius, one who probably comes around once in a generation. Even he wasn't that good when he was 5. Nonetheless he nodded and walked towards Naruto and his sensei, taking out a piece of white paper and handing it out to him. Minato saw the slight doubt come over Kakashi's lone visible eye and asked Naruto to perform the Kaden chakra manipulation which he did last night. Naruto too had felt the slight doubt in Kakashi's mind and nodded to his father. He went through the same hand signs which he did the previous night. Ne, Rat, Uchi, Ox, Tora, Tiger, and opened the palm of his right hand, igniting a small fire on top of it. Kakashi's loan widened slightly as he stared at Naruto in surprise. "Say, Sensei?" Kakashi asked in surprise. Naruto smiled, seeing his Nisan's stupefied expression. "I know Kakashi. I was shocked too when I saw him do it last night. He was reading books on elemental chakra and hand signs. This is the reason why I believe he's ready to learn elemental manipulation. If he could do that, he could master the basic manipulation with ease." "Hi, Sensei," Kakashi said, still not taking his eyes off Naruto. He felt stupid to doubt Naruto now. The things he has seen the kid do. It still amazes him and at times terrifies him. Minato handed one sheet of paper to Naruto and kept one in his hand. "Naru, you already know the different nature types of chakra, right?" Minato asked. "Hi, 2-chan. There are 5 different types of chakra nature. each being stronger and weaker than the other. They are Kaden, Suishin, Raiden, Doden and Futon. Apart from these 5 there's also Yin and Yang chakra. Yin chakra is the spiritual energy of a person and the Yang chakra is the physical energy of the person. Naruto explained briefly. That is correct, Naru. Now, every person having chakra has either 1 or 2 chakra natures which are their primary natures. There are times when one is born with 3 primary affinities also, while others must train in other chakra natures which is not their primary to be able to use them effectively. This chakra paper here helps one identify their primary chakra nature. When you apply chakra into the paper reacts to the chakra showing various results. If it's sliced down the middle, you have Futon nature. If it becomes damp, you have Sweeten nature. If it crumbles, you have Doden nature. If it burns, you have Kaden nature, and if it wrinkles, you have Raiden nature. Did you understand me so far? Minato said seriously. Naruto nodded and Minato asked him to apply some chakra into the chakra paper. The results were quite astonishing. As soon as Naruto applied some chakra into the paper, it sliced into 4 different pieces. The first slice burned to ashes immediately, the second one became extremely damp, the third one crumbled to pieces and the last one became wrinkled. While Naruto calmly looked at the fallen pieces of paper, inwardly he was excited at the fact he could perform all the chakra nature types. Meanwhile, both Minato and Kakashi stared at the sight in front of them with dumbfounded expressions. It should be impossible. No human should have the innate talent to perform all 5 chakra nature transformations. Yet the proof was right in front of their eyes. After a long silence, Kakashi cleared his throat to speak. Well, that was surprising, Naruto. Minato just nodded his head. Naruto felt how surprised the both were. 2chan, was that supposed to happen? You said maximum a person is born with the ability to use either 2 or 3 different chakra nature types. Naruto asked, in confusion. Well, that is normally the case, Naru. I haven't seen anything like this before. I will have to ask Jiraiya-sensei about it. Minato said and paused a bit before thinking about something. Whatever the case, Naru, it's a good thing, isn't it? You have more potential to become stronger if you are well versed with all the chakra nature transformations. Minato finished with a smile. Naruto smiled upon hearing that and nodded his head. So, what now, 2chan? How should I train in these elements? Naruto was extremely excited to learn that he had much more potential to become stronger. He could protect his 2chan and village that way. He still remembered the words written by the Shodai Hokage on that tree. He could feel the emotion with which the words were written. More so, his grandfather also dreamt of a peaceful world. He would create a world where his 2chan, Ni-san, his friends and he could live peacefully. Well, Naru, that's why Kakashi is here right now. I have some important work to do at the Hokage's office. So, he will be helping you getting started with the basics of elemental manipulation. Minato said and looked towards Kakashi, making a silent request. Surprisingly, Kakashi nodded without any hesitation. Minato expected the man to be slightly reluctant or lazy perhaps, but he guessed Kakashi was indeed eager to spend more time with Naruto. Minato soon disappeared to his office in a yellow flash and left the two alone. Naruto looked at Kakashi curiously and asked, "Well, Ni-san, what are we going to do?" Kakashi smiled wickedly, which sent shivers down the young blonde's spine. Well, Autoto. 2 years and 4 months later. Kaden. Gokyaku no Jutsu, fire style. Fireball Jutsu, Kakashi said as he breathed out a massive orb of flame which speedily headed straight towards Naruto. Seeing the flames coming towards him at a fast pace, Naruto held his hand in the rat seal and said, "Sweeten. Sujinheki, water style. Water wall," while spewing out large amounts of water from his mouth. The water immediately formed a defensive barrier around Naruto, cancelling the Kaden Jutsu. As both the attacks got cancelled out, a thick mist was formed around the training ground, where Kakashi and Naruto were currently having their morning spars. He's gotten a lot better at using Sweeten Jutsu, Kakashi thought. Not even a second later his eyes widened as 2 shuriken came flying towards him with what he guessed were coated with Futon chakra. He substituted himself with a nearby log at the last second and now stood atop the branch of a nearby tree. He got a bit tense as he could not see Naruto anywhere once the mist was cleared. It was a meek point for Kakashi to try and sense him out and he knew it. In the past 2 years, Naruto had mastered controlling his chakra to an incredible degree, and he knew the blonde could mask his chakra from him entirely. Nonetheless, Kakashi scanned the area where the mist was more prominent with his Sharingan for any whereabouts of the blonde. Kakashi then made 3 hand seals, and Raiden-natured chakra could be seen crackling on his right hand. The sounds of birds chirping could be heard in the entire training ground. He jumped out from the tree and smashed his hand into the ground with excessive force. Chidori. For a few seconds the ground crackled with electricity, and then a large explosion took place. A large crater formed within the training ground as 3 Narutos could be seen standing in between all the rubble, suggesting that Naruto had used Doten, Mogaragakure no Jutsu, allowing him to hide underground like a mole. Kakashi smirked at Naruto, having found his location with ease. 2 Narutos jumped at Kakashi quickly, while the third one jumped away to a safe spot. Seeing the 2 Naruto come towards him, which he now knew were Kage Bunshins, he immediately made a Kage Bunshin of his own and jumped back. The first Naruto clone aimed a punch at Kakashi clone's chest, but it ducked under the punch and tried to give the first Naruto clone a kick. He was blocked this time by the second Naruto clone, who was holding his legs. The first Naruto clone jumped in the air aiming to give a roundhouse kick to the Kakashi clone, when he smirked. Before the clones could realize what was happening, the Kakashi clone burst into lightning and electrocuted both of Naruto's clones, dispelling them too in the process. This was a variation of Kage Bunshin which was made by Kakashi himself. He had named it Raiden Kage Bunshin, Lightning Shadow Clone. After training with the blonde on a regular basis for more than 2 years, he had improved several of his existing skills and made a couple of new ones. If one were to talk about his skills now, it would be borderline S rank. As the real Kakashi jumped back, he saw the third Naruto make hand signs for a Suiden Jutsu and started copying his hand signs by focusing on him with his Sharingan. Suiden. Suiyuden no Jutsu, Water Style. Water Dragon Jutsu. Large amounts of water molecules were converted by Naruto to form a huge water dragon with menacing yellow eyes. Suiden. Suiyuden no Jutsu, Water Style. Water Dragon Jutsu, Kakashi said, as the water from a nearby pond rose several heights similar to the one formed by Naruto. Both the water dragons roared and raced toward each other in frightening speed. The 2 water dragons collided with each other and flooded a part of the training ground with water. With practiced ease, both Naruto and Kakashi stood atop the water, focusing the chakra to the sole of their shoes. Kakashi was slightly out of breath due to the high amounts of chakra he had been using today. Even though his chakra reserves had increased a lot in the last couple of years, his constantly active Sharingan always had a drain on him, and hence he tired easily in drawn-out battles. He looked towards Naruto and saw him smirk. He was confused about Naruto's reaction until he saw him mouth those words, making his eyes widen. Bunshin Daibukua, Great Clone Explosion. As the clone exploded, all the water in the area got splashed around everywhere and another large crater was formed. As the water was falling from the sky along with all the rock debris, it hid the ground temporarily. Naruto, who was hanged as a rock on the far edge of the training ground, undid the henge and sensed Kakashi using the familiar Sunshin no Jutsu. He sensed his location in less than a second and just disappeared from his spot without any indication that he was there. There was no swirl of leaves or a cloud of smoke. He simply vanished. Naruto was extremely glad that Shisui helped him improve on this technique. Unlike most, who believe Sunshin no Jutsu to be only useful for transportation, Naruto integrated the technique well into his style of fighting. Of course, it had to be a clone, thought the copy ninja. Kakashi had narrowly managed to Sunshin out of the area on top of a tree at the edge of the training ground. As soon as he arrived there, a second later he felt the touch of cold metal touching his neck. He looked back to see Naruto standing behind him, a kunai placed at his neck. "You lose, Kakashi ni-san," Naruto said while smirking. "Well, you got me again," he said with on his eye smiles. He pulled his headband down to cover his Sharingan and then both sunshined inside the living room of the house. "That was good spar, Kakashi ni-san," Naruto said as he casually fell on the sofa. Naruto and Kakashi had made a routine of sparring with each other regularly, whether it be solely ninjutsu or taijutsu. Over the past 2 years, Naruto had thoroughly trained in arts of ninjutsu, taijutsu and genjutsu. Although Naruto was extremely proficient in using all chakra natures, he felt more comfortable with Suiden, Kaden and Futon. However, Senjutsu was the area where the blonde had improved upon the most. Even the Toad Elders and Jiraiya were surprised how quickly Naruto could enter Sage mode. Initially it took him about 5 to 6 seconds to reach the enhanced state, but now he could enter it instantly. It was like the chakra flowing in the world would rush in to enter his body, eager to rekindle with his chakra. The kind of things Naruto could do with Senjutsu, it was beautiful yet terrifying. You're only 7 Naruto and it's almost impossible for me to beat you in a spar. Kakashi said. You have come a long way since the day we started training together. You should be proud of yourself, Naruto, Kakashi said with an eye smile. I know, I am. His smile grew as he saw Naruto's eyes widen ever so slightly. He too then sat down, tired from all the morning exercise and the spar. Kakashi couldn't help but smile and feel proud of the way Naruto had turned out. Despite being young, he showed shinobi skills, maturity and wisdom far beyond his age. Really, Ni-san? Naruto asked as he looked down with a small smile. It warmed his heart whenever his 2-chan, Jiraiya Oji-chan or Ni-san spoke of him this way. There weren't many people in the village Naruto spoke a lot to. So, he always treasured the compliments he got from his loved ones, for whatever reasons. After Naruto spent a few seconds to recover from the kind words, he gave a small heartwarming smile. Thank you, Kakashi Ni-san. He brought his right hand to the back of his neck. I really appreciate it, coming from you. He added. Kakashi nodded, both knew the other extremely well, even without the blonde's special skills. After a few minutes of silence, Kakashi got up and saw that Naruto was already dozed off and thus left the house with Asuncion to his own apartment for a bath and a change of clothes. Later in sometime in the evening, the young Namikaze groggily opened his eyes and rubbed it slowly. Looking outside the window, he saw the sky was almost orange now. He instantly got up from the sofa and stretched his arms a bit. Naruto was now 7 years and 7 months. He stood at a height of 4 feet and 3 inches, which was good for his age. He had lost most of his baby fat, a testament of the regular physical exercise he had been doing in the past few years. He wore a full-sleeved gray shirt with the Uchiha clan symbol donning the back of it and black Anbu pants. The current Uchiha clan head, Fugaku Uchiha, who was good friends with Minato, had presented both him and Naruto the clan symbol as a sign of goodwill. This indicated that they were always welcomed within the clan. The pants were gifted to Naruto by his brother-like figure, Kakashi. He wore black gloves on his hands, which was his most cherished gift to him yet, given to him by his 2-chan. It belonged to his grandfather, Madara Uchiha, who had given it to his son when he dropped off young Minato outside of Konohagakure. His most noticeable change was his hair. He had grown it longer in the last couple of years. He still had 2 bangs of blonde hair with a mix of brown which framed the sides of his jaws. His hair now reached past his shoulder, almost till his mid-waist. A bit of his hair now covered his right eye, which Naruto seemed to like. His eyebrows were cut short, showing a symbol of his nobility. I slept again. Naruto thought out loud. Not that dream again, he thought as he walked to a washroom to freshen up. This had been a recent occurrence now. In the past year, he had been getting dreams of a 9-tailed fox and an old man whose face he could not remember. Except that he had a shakuho in one of his hands. Naruto knew about the Kyubi no Yoko that was sealed within him now, but hadn't talked to anyone about it yet. He wanted to get used to the knowledge of it on his own. It was only a few months back that he found out about it, when he read a few books on bijus and jinchuriki. He was surprised there were 8 more bijus like the fox and all of them were sealed within humans, who are called jinchuriki. Surprisingly, he was relieved finally knowing why it was majority of the villagers seemed to hate him and knowing what the overwhelming amount of chakra was which he often felt inside himself. A few minutes later when Naruto came out of the washroom, he decided to finally speak to his father about this. He had thought the dreams would stop after a few months but it had been almost over a year now. He did not hate his 2-chan for keeping something like this from him. He could never hate his 2-chan. Nor did he hate the Sandaime. He knew they had their reasons and he understood them. From what he gathered by reading, the Kyubi was the strongest of all the biju and comparatively different from them. So, he had hypothesized it would require someone with a strong life force to be able to contain such potent and enormous chakra of the biju. He knew one of the main reasons for the Biju to be sealed within him was because of his Uzumaki heritage. Hence, with that in mind, he walked upstairs to the library where he had sensed his father was. Minato had returned to his house early today, deciding to finish rest of the paperwork in his library. The academy will be starting 4 months from now, in September, and Minato was looking forward to the new batch as his son, Naruto, will be joining this year too. He knew his son was far ahead in terms of skills and knowledge compared to other kids in academy and even most of the Junin for most matter. But, as every parent, he wanted Naruto to make more friends, get to know people more better and form a strong bond with the village. Most of the friends Naruto currently had were far older than him and he only knew Sasuke and Sakura among his friends who were of his age. He chuckled a bit thinking about Sakura. That girl reminded him a lot of Kushina. Kind, gentle and scary when her mood is off. Nonetheless, he was glad the two were there in his son's life. So, here he was now, looking at admission forms for all the academy students who will be joining this year as well as the teachers who will be teaching them during their time at the academy. As he flipped through the forms, his eyes landed on the picture of one named Iruka Yumino. He had been recently promoted to the Chunin rank and had applied for the job as an academy teacher. He knew the boy during his time as a Junin and smiled. Even though his parents were killed during the Kyuubi attack, he knew he wouldn't act differently towards Naruto. He will be a good teacher for Naru. As Minato was going through the pages, he heard footsteps entering the library, saw it was Naruto. He looked up from his work and smiled at him. However, looking at his eyes, he understood something was troubling him. "What is it, Naru? Anything happened?" he asked gently. Naruto fidgeted his feet a bit and seemed a bit uncomfortable to speak about the subject he had in mind, but decided to come out with it anyway. "To-chan, I want to talk to you about something and ask you a favor." Minato became slightly worried looking at his face and immediately got up from his seat and walked up to him. He crouched down in front of him and put a hand to his cheek. "It's okay, Naru. You can tell me anything. Did anything happen? I have been having these dreams for over a year. At first I thought nothing of it. Then it continued to happen regularly and I thought it would stop after a while. But it didn't stop." Naruto replied as he looked at his feet. "Well, tell me what it is about." "It's, about the Kyuubi no Yoko, To-chan. I know the Sandaime Jiji had sealed fox in me because of my Uzumaki heritage. I have been seeing the fox and an old man with a shikuho frequently in the dreams I have been having," Naruto said slowly. Minato froze in his spot as he heard the Kyuubi's name. He didn't know whether to be amazed at his astuteness or be worried about him finding out about the Kyuubi no Yoko. He knew how the villagers treated Naruto. But he can't change the views of people who can't look past their grief and sorrow. He dreaded thinking if his son hated him for making him a Jinchuriki. Naruto realized what his father was thinking and squeezed his hand, gaining his attention. "I can never hate you, To-chan. You are the only one in this world I love the most. I understand why Sandaime Jiji and you decided to seal the fox in me. I don't hate the villagers either. I love Konoha and her people with everything. I can feel their emotions. They are grieving and are dejected about losing so many of their loved ones during the attack. They don't hate me, they hate the fox. But I know it's hard for them to look past that hatred." Minato just stared at his son as he spoke about the village. He still couldn't believe the little blonde he had held in his hand for the first time almost 8 years ago was speaking so wisely. A tear slipped down his eye as he realized the last words Sarutobi Hiruzen spoke to him before he perished. Flashback. Sarutobi Hiruzen was down on the ground, panting heavily. The Shiki Fujin dead demon consuming seal on his chest was clearly visible, which he had used to seal the yin chakra of the Kyuubi no Yoko within himself. His entire body was burning from the inside. He didn't count on the chakra being this strong and potent. He was aware he was counting his last breath and dying like a true Hokage of Konohagakure no Sato should, protecting the village from her enemies. He looked to his left and saw the young blonde boy, Naruto Namikaze, in whom he had sealed the yang half of the Kyuubi's chakra. Seeing Minato cradle the boy in his arms, a smile came to his face as he knew he made the right decision. A Jinchuriki's life is filled with hatred and hardships. Naruto had already lost his mother tonight and was condemned to a life of hate. He couldn't take away his father from him too. At least with Minato around, Naruto would have a chance at normal life. As normal as it could get for the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi no Yoko. He saw Minato approach him with Naruto in his arms. He gazed at the little baby with admiration in his eyes. The village had a new hero. Someone who would protect them every day. Arigato, Sandaime-sama. You don't know how grateful I am. I will make sure my son grows up happy and loved. Minato said with a few tears in his eyes. Shinobi's life is not measured by how he lives, Minato-kun, but by how he dies, he replied with a smile in between breaths. He looked at the little blonde one last time and Minato bent down so that Sarutobi could get a better look at him. He lifted his hand with sheer will and caressed Naruto's cheek. He is the hero of Konohagakure no Sato, Minato-kun. A day will come when you will see the will of fire burn brightly his eyes. He was born during time of great chaos and darkness, but he will be the one to shine light upon the shinobi world. With those words, the Sandaime Hokage of Konohagakure no Sato, the third man to ever gain the title of Shinobi no Kami, closed his eyes forever. Flashback end. You were right, Sandaime-sama. The will of fire burns brightly in Naru. Minato thought. He felt Naruto put his little hands on his face and wipe away the tear. I'm sorry, Naru, that I did not tell you about this sooner. I was worried about how you would react and thought about telling you when you were older. Minato said in a low voice. I know, Tu-chan. It's all right. Naruto said as he smiled at his beloved father. Tu-chan, I want to speak to the Kyuubi. Naruto said and spoke the last rather hastily. You want to what? I want to talk to the Kyuubi, Naruto said again but more clearly. Minato's face became serious hearing Naruto's request. Naruto had never asked his father for anything in his short life. Seeing his father's serious look, he was worried he was going to be scolded for asking such a question. Honestly, he himself did not know why he wanted to speak to the Biju. He did not hate the Biju, neither did he like the Biju. That's mainly because whatever he read about the chakra entities was from the point of view of humans. He wanted to understand the Biju. Why they were how the humans made them out to be. Why could he only feel hatred and malice and a slight hint of loneliness when he tried feeling the massive chakra that was there and inside his body? Naruto, why do you want to talk to the Kyuubi? Minato asked in a serious voice. He was sure he could suppress the Kyuubi with his Mangekyo Sharingan if need be and that the cage was strong enough to hold the fox back. But still, he needed to know the reason behind his son's peculiar request. I want to understand the Biju, Tu-chan. Why is it that they exist? Everything we know about the Biju is from the humans' point of view, who hate the creatures. Naruto said with equal seriousness. Minato was slightly taken aback by that response. He did expect him to have thought about it so deeply. He thought about it for a minute and then nodded. Naruto sat in a lotus position in front of his Tu-chan. Minato activated his Sharingan, as his eyes changed from sapphire blue to red color with 3 tomos in it. He looked towards Naruto as the tomos in his Sharingan started spinning in clockwise direction. Naruto's mindscape. Both Naruto and Minato appeared in what seemed to be a sewer. There were pipes in every wall and the floor was filled with water with about 20 centimeters in height. They saw a long corridor in front of them and started walking in that direction. Come closer, called out a deep voice which they both knew belonged to the Kyuubi no Yoko. After walking for a couple of minutes, Naruto and Minato found themselves staring at a big iron door with vertical bars. In the middle of the door, there was a small piece of paper with the kanji for seal imprinted on it. Naruto looked inside the cage but it looked empty. He was about to inside but was stopped by Minato's hand on his shoulder. Wait, Naru. The fox will show itself. Minato said. Suddenly behind the bars of the empty cage, Naruto and Minato saw 2 glowing red eyes with black vertical slits. As the eyes approached the door, he noticed the form of the fox with 9 tails swinging wildly on his back. There it stood behind the doors, the most powerful being in the world, the most powerful of the 9 Biju, the Kyuubi the Yoko. Naruto, said the fox as he stared at Naruto in the eye. For a few minutes the Kyuubi and Naruto just gazed at each other in the eyes. Before, when Naruto tried to feel the mass in his gut, he only ever felt hatred or malice and at times, loneliness. Now standing so close to the Biju, he seemed almost calm. Naruto smiled. His Senjutsu chakra was soothing and relaxing the Kyuubi. Whatever the case, Naruto Was aware that the Kyuubi could also feel him, like he too had the ability to read emotions. It had been over 5 minutes and the Kyuubi and Naruto were still gazing into each other's eyes. It was like they were intently watching each other's soul. Naruto saw something in the fox's eyes that made his eyes widen. They both were the same. They both were hated and scorned by the villagers. They both were considered demons. They both knew the meaning of loneliness. Knew the meaning of hatred. They both were forced upon each other and they were both the definition of strong. They were the same, in more ways than one. Naruto understood the Biju now. He was misunderstood. He was lonely. And it was because humans feared his power, that they hated him. Naruto stood proud and tall in front of the great Kyuubi no Yoko and gave him a smile and nod of his head, which was replicated by the Kyuubi himself. It is said, that when two people can feel each other's emotion, they don't need words to express themselves. Because when you can feel each other at such an intimate level, you cannot help but love them. Meanwhile, Minato stood beside Naruto and intently watched the interaction between Naruto and the Kyuubi. He knew his son had the innate ability to feel one's emotion. Yet he did not understand what it was Naruto was trying to achieve here. His eyes widened when he saw his son nod his head to the fox and the fox returning the gesture with a smile of his own pointed canines. "I'm sorry for what has happened to you," Naruto said after the long silence, surprising Minato even further. "I know," replied the fox, still looking at the tiny form of Naruto. Naruto raised his right hand and formed it into a fist and outstretched it towards the Kyuubi. Naru. Minato was about to stop his son when he stopped dead in his tracks at the scene in front of him. Never in his life had he seen such a thing in front of him. A 7-year-old boy befriending the greatest Biju in the world. And so, the Kyuubi too bumped his fists with Naruto. From there, they were linked. They both knew everything about each other. Their origins, their life, their thoughts, their darkness, and more importantly, they knew they could trust each other with their lives. Naruto now knew about the Rakudo Sennin, Hagoromo Otsutsuki. He knew about his two sons Indra Otsutsuki and Ashura Otsutsuki. The reasons behind why this shinobi world headed into this war-torn state. The reason why he felt he was different than other people. He now knew who he was as he looked at the sun and moon mark on the palms of his right and left hand. But most important of all, he knew the type of person his mother was. "I will save you one day, Kurama." Naruto gave one of the most beautiful smiles Minato had ever seen. "Naru." Minato called out to him hesitantly. A few seconds later, Naruto turned to his father. "Yes, Tu-chan. What happened just now?" he asked a bit warily. It was weird for him to watch the Kyuubi smile. Naruto chuckled seeing his father's reaction. It must have been awfully weird for him, he mused. He turned back to Kurama and asked, "Kurama, can you show my Tu-chan everything you showed me just now?" The fox got up on his legs with his 9 tails swinging wildly behind him and lowered his head to Minato's eye level. "Madara's son," Kurama growled. Minato's sweat dropped at that reply. "Hey, he's my grandfather, okay?" Naruto replied childishly with a mock glare. His grandfather and Tu-chan were his idols. He would never take anyone bad-mouthing them. "Fine, whatever," Kurama said and outstretched his fist towards Minato. Minato looked towards Naruto questioningly, unsure of what to do. "It's alright, Tu-chan. Bump fists with him and you will know what I'm talking about." Deciding to trust his son, Minato bumped his fist with the Kyuubi's. Once they had broken contact, he stayed quiet for a while. He knew everything now. His origins. The unaltered history of the shinobi world. He turned his gaze towards his son and once again just stared at him with disbelief in his eyes. Something which he had been doing a lot in the past few years. He wondered if there was anything that Naruto couldn't do. It was just too overwhelming. Yet, it made sense. He closed his eyes and folded his arms over his chest. A trait he seemed share with his son when he was in deep thought. He went through everything and rearranged all the information he already knew with what he had learned recently. A few minutes later, Minato opened his eyes and walked towards Naruto. He instantly picked him up in his right arm and patted his head with his left. All of this caused the young blonde to become extremely flushed. "Tou-chan." Naruto shouted, extremely embarrassed that Kurama was watching all of this. "Shish, let me talk, okay?" Minato asked softly, earning a small nod from Naruto. "I have never believed in destiny, Naruto. I always believe that one forges their own path through hard work and determination. But what I learned right now was extremely overwhelming. But it does make sense for the shinobi world's current situation. I have always thought of you to be special. But that's every parent's duty, nay. Minato started. Like every parent, it is my duty to believe in you. To guide you in your dark times and stand alongside you when in the light. So, it doesn't matter whether you are the child of prophecy or the fact that we both are descendants of the Rakuto Sennin. You are Naruto Namikaze, son of Kushina Uzumaki and Minato Namikaze. That's what you'll always be to me. I will always believe in you, Naru. Minato finished as he kissed his son on the forehead. Naruto could feel the love his two-chan had for him. It made him feel so warm to be in his embrace. It made him feel safe. He knew who he was and what he had to do. He was Naruto Namikaze and he would always love his two-chan and strive to create a world where his loved ones could live peacefully. Naruto looked at his father in the eyes and nodded his head slowly, engulfing him in a tight hug. Enough with this mushy scene. It's giving me a headache. Kyubi said in his ever so deep voice. Minato and Naruto chuckled seeing Kurama resting his head on his paws. Today a bond was formed between the three. One which would shape the world in the unforeseen future. 5 days later, Konohagakure no Sato. Naruto was casually sitting at the edge of a lake on the west side of the village. He usually came over to train when Kakashi and Minato were busy with their work. Today however, he decided to just rest and enjoy the lax time. It was late evening now and the sky was very clear tonight. He was lying down on the grass with his legs hanging a few inches above the water surface. He was told he would joining the academy soon in the coming months and he was extremely excited on the prospect of making new friends. He wondered if Sakura would be joining too. I should ask her soon. He thought offhandedly. He closed his eyes and felt the different emotions flowing in the village. It was among his favorite things to do. He felt most of the people were quite happy. Some were sad for reasons he did not understand. While some were, he had learned a thing or two about such things from Kakashi. Watching him read those orange books every time had piqued his interest. So, one day he managed to a book from him without letting him know and read it. It's suffice to say, he was scarred that day for life. A while later, Naruto got up from his position and decided to walk to Ichiraku Ramen to satisfy his ramen urges. As he was walking towards the place through the market street of the village, his eyes landed on a girl about the same age as him. She was staring inside one of the shops and by the look on her face, he assumed she must really like what she was staring at. She had neck-length dark blue color hair and white eyes. A Hyuga, Naruto thought. She wore a lavender color kimono with a white floral design and brown colored sandals. As she turned towards him, he noticed how beautiful her face was. Her eyes were so hypnotizing and mesmerizing. The two stared at each other for a few seconds until he heard someone call out to her. Hinata-sama. It's getting late. We must return to the house soon. Your mother is waiting for you, said one of the branch Hyuga members, who was Hinata's escort outside the Hyuga compound. Naruto saw her leave and he kept his eyes on her retreating figure. He saw her turn her head slightly to look at him and for reasons unknown to him, he gave her a big smile and waved to her gently. Hinata, that's a pretty name, he thought as he slid his hands inside his pocket and walked to the Ichiraku Ramen store. Near the borders of Hai no Kuni and Land of Grass. It was late at night, and 3 shinobi could be seen entering the borders of Hai no Kuni from the Land of Grass. Each of them had a black cloak on them and a black face mask covered their faces. However, the most prominent feature about them was their forehead protector which had the kanji for earth on it. They were hopping from one tree to another and were traveling at a fast pace. They had recently been given an assassination mission by their Tsuchikage and were also provided help from within Konoha. Hence, they were traveling at a fast pace to meet with their informant. However, not everyone in the team was made aware of the identity of their target. Due to the sensitivity of the mission, only the team captain was briefed about the mission and their target in detail. Seeing as they were inside the borders of Hai no Kuni now, one of the team members voiced his thoughts to the team captain, who was leading ahead. Taicho, who's our target? He asked with seriousness present in his voice. Without taking his eyes off the dark path ahead, the team captain replied with a sick smile. Naruto Namikaze. Naruto slowly opened his eyes as the first rays of the sunlight bathed the entire room with its sunny rays. The blonde sat up from his sleeping spot and glanced at the clock on the wall in front, which showed 7 in the morning, and stretched his arms to get rid of the stiffness from them. He removed the blanket on top of him and stepped out of his comfortable bed and walked into the washroom to have a bath. An hour later, Naruto could be seen walking downstairs wearing a gray t-shirt with the Uchiha clan symbol on his back and black Anbu pants. He had black sandals on and was wearing black gloves. As he walked down towards the kitchen, he saw his 2-chan and Jiraiya already sitting on the table having breakfast. It had been a while since he had seen his Oji-chan. Even though Jiraiya was not an active shinobi of Konoha anymore, his job was far too important for him to be staying within the village. The last 2 years had made Naruto see Jiraiya in a different light. The old man had helped Naruto grow immensely in various aspects. He may be a super pervert, but the man was an experienced, wise and a strong shinobi. Incredibly strong. He still shivered thinking of how much his body hurt after all those taijutsu exercises with him. There were times when he would return home with various scrapes and bruises all over his body. If not for his potent chakra which provided him advanced healing powers, he doubted he could have continued that sort of brutal physical training with the Sannin given his age. His smile faded slightly as he remembered the promise he made to himself a while back when he overheard Jiraiya and Fukasaku talk. Flashback 1 year ago. For the last couple of months, Naruto and Jiraiya had worked intensively on their ability to harness Senjutsu chakra. Jiraiya often took Naruto to Mount Myoboku so they both could train together and to indulge the boy in various aspects which comes under Senjutsu. Earlier, Jiraiya required the help of the 2 great sages of Mount Myoboku, Fukasaku-sama and Shima-sama, to enter sage mode, while Naruto could enter the enhanced state all on his own. This attribute of Naruto baffled Jiraiya and even the great Toad sages greatly. In all their time, they had never come across anyone who was so closely connected or compatible with nature chakra. Naruto was able to do things which a normal 6-year child should not be able to do. The little blonde boy could understand all the techniques taught to him on his first try without much explanation. Despite his small body, he could defeat Anbu-level shinobi in taijutsu alone when he enhanced his muscles with Senjutsu chakra, and could sometimes go toe-to-toe with Minato or Jiraiya when he's using sage mode. His abnormally amazing chakra control was another aspect which should not have been possible for Naruto. Such a level of precision was something only Tsunade Senju possessed. That alone raised a lot of questions in Jiraiya's mind. For a long time, he had thought Minato to be the child of prophecy. But watching Naruto grow made him question his speculations. The rate at which Naruto was progressing also terrified him. He was an Uchiha after all. Jiraiya still hadn't forgotten the look in Minato's eyes when he butchered those Iwagakure shinobi. He knew by the time that Naruto grew past the age of 15 or even 12 for that matter, his powers would be comparable to even gods. That thought alone sent shivers down his spine at times. What were the boy's limits? Did he have any? Eventually, it began to make more and more sense to him. Naruto was incredibly mature for his age. Even though he acted his own age in front of Minato, he showed wisdom far beyond his age. He saw things from an adult's point of view and understand their concerns. While training in Senjutsu, Naruto had discovered that he could enter the enhanced state instantly. Senjutsu is a specialized field of technique that allows the user to sense and gather natural energy that is flowing in the world. However, for Naruto, it's a completely different experience. He could feel the energy flowing within the world as if it was a natural practice to him. While most users must gather the natural energy and balance it with their yin and yang chakra, in Naruto's case, the Senjutsu chakra would come rushing inside his body like a tidal wave and balance itself on its own. Another thing which Naruto discovered was that he had the ability to transfer chakra, even Senjutsu chakra. In any case Jiraiya required to enter the sage mode and time was of the essence, Naruto could channel natural energy from himself onto him. So, all Jiraiya had to do was balance the natural energy with his spiritual yin and physical yang chakra. In the amount of time Jiraiya had trained with Naruto, he had learned a few things from him. He reduced the time it took him to enter sage mode and no longer required Fukasaku and Shima to assist him. Currently, a 6-year-old Naruto was standing beside Jiraiya in the gardens of the Namikaze compound. Well, what are you waiting for? Summon Gamakichi and tell him to ask Fukasaku-sensei to reverse summon us. Jiraiya said. Hi Jiraiya-sensei. Naruto replied, which earned a smile from the toad Sanin. That was another thing which the blonde had started calling him during their training sessions. Apart from his father, Jiraiya was the only one who could understand Naruto completely. He thought it was probably because they were the only 3 people who could utilize senjutsu in the elemental nations currently. Naruto bit his left thumb, drawing a bit of blood, and went through a couple of hand signs and slammed his left hand on the ground, saying, Kuchio's no jutsu. Suddenly there was a cloud of smoke and there appeared to be a small toad. It was a young orange toad with purple markings around his eyes, mouth and stomach. The toad was small enough to fit on top of Naruto's head. Gamakichi. Naruto yelled as he picked up the toad in his hands and put him on top of his head. Gamakichi shifted a bit to get comfortable in his spot and bumped fists with Naruto as a show of their friendship. The two had known each other since Naruto was 4 years old and had become friends immediately. Yo, Naruto. What's up? Why did you call me? Gamakichi asked. Kichi, could you ask Fukasaku-sensei and Shima-sama to reverse summon us to Mount Myoboku? We need to get some training done. Naruto replied. Sure bro. With that, Gamakichi disappeared in a cloud of smoke to the land of toads. Jiraiya and Naruto stood close to each other as they waited for the reverse summon technique to take place. After a few seconds, both were transported via reverse summoning to Mount Myoboku. Jiraiya and Naruto soon found themselves standing near a special portal that linked Mount Myoboku and Konohagakure. This was known as the distant body water or Enshinsui. This portal enables smaller toads to quickly travel between the 2 places without the use of the summoning technique. Combined with a toad that can perform the summoning jutsu, the toads can be summoned to aid Konohagakure in the event a living toad summoner isn't in Konoha at the time, or summon people to Mount Myoboku from Konoha. Naruto-chan, it's been a while since you have come to visit us. How have you been? Asked Fukasaku. He was a small green toad with white hair styled in somewhat of a mohawk, very thick eyebrows and a small goatee. He wears a simple brown-colored cape and has black pigmentation around his yellow eyes. His pupils are bar-shaped and are black in color. Fukasaku, often referred to as head, is an elder toad over 800 years old and a revered user of senjutsu. Naruto bowed his head in respect before the elder toad sage. I'm good Fukasaku-sensei. Jiraiya-sensei says I'm almost done with finishing the frog katas and has one final test for me. Naruto exclaimed as he felt Jiraiya ruffle his hair gently. Fukasaku glanced at Jiraiya from the corner of his eyes and saw him nod his head ever so slightly. So, it's time. It's hard to believe how fast you're growing, Naruto-chan. The elder toad thought as he released a sigh. Jiraiya ushered Naruto to go ahead and look for Gamakichi while he had to talk with Fukasaku. Naruto could feel something was troubling Jiraiya and wanted to ask him about it. But one look at Jiraiya's face and he knew he wouldn't be told anything. Naruto innocently nodded and ran ahead, while discreetly making a single hand seal. Jiraiya smiled softly, looking at the blonde's retreating form. The boy looked so innocent right now. As soon as Naruto was out of sight, his facial features took a grim expression, thinking of all the difficulties Naruto would have to face. Nothing has changed Fukasaku-sensei, Jiraiya said tiredly. What do you mean, Jiraiya boy? Asked Fukasaku curiously. Shodai-sama created the system of villages, forming an era of temporary peace and ended the era of great clan wars. But did it change anything? Wherever you go, there is always war. The last 3 shinobi wars are a prime exemplar of that. I hear a civil war might start soon in Konohagakure due to the madness of their Mizukage, who is a Jinchuriki. The relations between Iwagakure, Sunagakure and our village hasn't been steady. I fear they may be planning something as per my spy network. There's this group of mercenaries which is made of entirely missing ninjas. They are new and are being funded by Iwagakure and some smaller villages I have heard. And the thing is, they are all S-rank shinobi. I don't know their objective yet, but it won't be anything good. I dread if this situation continues, another shinobi war is not too far away. Jiraiya said grimly. There's so much of hate in this world. A shinobi of one village is ordered to kill the shinobi of another even during these times if they are from an enemy village. The shinobi don't even know each other and fight to kill the other because of the hate that has been festered since generations ago. And if the war does occur, young children will be sent to the front lines again. Sometimes I wonder if true peace is ever possible. Minato and I have lost so much fighting in the last 2 shinobi wars. I don't want Naruto to go through the same. Fukasaku stared at his longtime student with a solemn expression. He knew how much Jiraiya cared for Naruto, and to watch the young child train only for him to go through a war must be hard on the Sannin. He has a strong will, Jiraiya. Believe in him. He will grow up to be a man of unimaginable strength. Jiraiya and Fukasaku went ahead to the grassy fields to look for Naruto, completely missing a pair of violet eyes followed by the whole body that shimmered into existence at the side. Peace, a place where people don't hate each other. I will create a world where you can live happily, 2-chan, Jiraiya Oji-chan. He thought with a few tears rolling down his face. That day Naruto felt hate for the first time. Hate for those who made his 2-chan and Oji-chan suffer. The sun mark and half-crescent moon mark on Naruto's hand glowed for a second before it went back to normal. Flashback end. His face then opted a happy smile as he walked towards the table where his father and godfather were sitting. Good morning 2-chan, Oji-chan. Naruto greeted as he sat down on the table to Minato's left. Naru, you woke up early today. Did you sleep okay? Minato asked. Hi, 2-chan. Well, I was going to go meet Sakura today. You know, I wanted to ask her if she was joining the academy. Naruto said. He heard his godfather giggling slightly and looked at him narrowed eyes. His godfather had the tendency to get ideas for his orange books from uncanny situations. Hey, no need to look at me like that. I'm not going to do anything. Jiraiya said frantically as he saw both Minato and Naruto looking at him suspiciously. Yeah right. First chance you get to see me hanging out with her, you will start scribbling ideas in your notepad for your... Naruto said nonchalantly as he filled his cup with some milk. Minato had to stifle a laughter upon hearing that. Jiraiya scoffed on hearing his work being called a. I will let you know that my book's sales are great and a lot of people tend to enjoy the literature in it. Yeah, only the lonely and single people read those books of yours. Naruto said. There were still times when Naruto had nightmares, remembering the descriptive words in the book he read. Minato laughed seeing a pout on Jiraiya's face. Soon enough everyone started to laugh seeing Jiraiya's predicament. Naruto smiled inwardly, feeling the jovial and carefree emotion radiating from his 2-chan and Oji-chan. I wish everything always stays like this. Naruto thought. It was around an hour later that everyone got up from the table after the satisfying breakfast and went off to do their work. Jiraiya had to leave the village again for a while to gather further information regarding the situation in Iwagakure and the civil war that recently started in Kurigakure that had divided the village into 2 fractions, rebels and the resistance. The war was allegedly started by the Yondaime Mizukage of Kurigakure, the Jinchuriki of the 3 Tails, Sanbi. The man was leading a war to purge the bloodline users from Mizu. It was said that he thought them to be too dangerous and their blood had been tainted due to their Kekkei Genkei. Thus, he decided to kill his own people. Thousands of innocent people had already been slaughtered and this was only the beginning of the genocide. Minato had gone to the Hokage's office to finish off the remaining paperwork he had in some of the council meetings he had to attend regarding their upcoming treaty talks with Sunagakure. Seeing as he did not have much to do today, Naruto decided to complete his morning routine of physical exercises and head off to meet Sakura sometime after and then train on the west side of the village as usual. Late afternoon, Shumatsu no Tani. Shumatsu no Tani, Valley of the End. The Valley of the End serves as a monumental place for the shinobi of Konohagakure no Sato. This was the land where their Shodai Hokage, Hashirama Senju, fought the fallen Uchiha clan leader, Madara Uchiha, stopping him from destroying the Hidden Leaf. That is what majority of the population were led to believe of Madara's intentions. The destructive power displayed in the epic battle left a scar in the earth that is today known as the Valley of End. The waterfall serves as the border between Land of Fire and Land of Sound. The valley was later memorialized with 2 giant statues of the main combatants, Hashirama Senju on the Land of Fire's side of the waterfall and Madara Uchiha on the opposite to symbolize his defection from the village. The statues are posed to make the traditional shinobi sparring seal of confrontation, which is protocol before a duel. A young boy around the age of 7 standing at a height of 4 feet and 1 inches could be seen standing on top of Hashirama Senju's head. He had been waiting around the area for the past few hours to meet with the team that would be executing tonight's mission. From first glance, one might think the boy was an Anbu because of the mask he was wearing over his face and his style of clothing. However, the strange thing about the mask was that it was completely blank and white in color, with a kanji of "ne" at the top right corner of the mask. This signified that he was a root Anbu agent. Half an hour later, a group of 3 shinobi could be seen emerging from the forests behind the statue of Madara Uchiha. They quickly crossed the lake and were now standing in front of their informant assistant. The leader looked at the boy standing in front of him and was surprised a boy so young was an Anbu agent. "Who are you, boy?" "We are the roots that protect the village from the shadows," replied the boy, gaining a nod from the team's leader. The Anbu handed the leader a folder, who looked at the Anbu with narrowed eyes. "There is no need to look at me with suspicion. The folder contains the information regarding the boy. You know your job well. Get him back to Iwagakure dead or alive. If you keep your deal, our master will be willing to cooperate with Tsuchikage-sama," said the root agent in a monotone voice. "Tch. Don't tell me how to do my job, kid. That son will be dead tonight," said the leader irritatingly. "Do not fail the mission," were the Anbu's last words before he disappeared in a shunshin. "Let's rest here for a few minutes. Tonight, Iwagakure shall their revenge against the Kiroi Senko," the leader ordered. Late evening, Konohagakure no Sato. The whole day went by either training or studying scrolls inside the Namikaze compound for Naruto. His father was still busy within the Hokage office and Itachi, Kakashi and Shisui were all away on missions. The only other person who Naruto considered his close friend in the village was Sakura. So, here he was now outside, looking for her. Naruto was silently walking towards the playground with his hands in pockets of his new kimono. It was a windy night and Naruto was wearing a maroon color kimono over his gray t-shirt and black colored pants. It was high-collared, held close by a black collar stash. The collar of the kimono was adorned by 9 magatamas, which was surprisingly Kurama's idea. "Loner," commented Kyubi, seeing Naruto's current predicament. "Hey, no one asked you okay, and I'm not a loner. I'm a very astute child, who likes indulging in decent conversations. So, it's hard to find someone like me," Naruto replied to his friend, folding his arms over chest and puffing his cheeks in embarrassment. "That was pathetic. Even for you," snickered the Kyubi, hearing Naruto's response. Deciding not to indulge his friend in further humiliating him, he kept quiet and walked towards the park. A few minutes of walk later, he arrived at the park and found it to be empty, much to his dismay. In 2 years of knowing her, he still did not know where she lived. Thinking of that itself made him feel somewhat stupid. He was about to leave when he saw 2 people sitting on the sandbox on the far left and talking to each other. He went a bit closer and smiled on seeing it was Sakura with another girl sitting opposite to her. He was startled that it was the same girl he saw the previous evening. "Sakura-chan," Naruto said loudly, gaining the 2 girls' attention. Sakura turned towards the voice and was surprised to see that it was Naruto. Her cheeks reddened a bit, but went back to their original shade immediately. It had been a few months since she had last seen Naruto. She got up from her spot and stepped outside of the sandbox. "Naruto-kun, what are you doing here?" Sakura asked gently. Naruto stopped in front of her and was amazed at how much she had changed in the past few months. Her pink hair was now longer, which reached up to her mid-waist and had a dark pink-colored ribbon on her forehead. She wore a red-colored t-shirt along with a black skirt having polka dots design carved on them. Naruto rubbed the back of his head sheepishly. A trait which he seemed to do a lot in front of her. "Ah well, you know. My 2-chan is busy today and I don't have anyone to spend time with or talk to. I thought I might come visit you. It's been a while since we met, you know," Naruto said. Sakura was about to reply when she realized she wasn't alone here. She turned back and motioned for her friend to come over. Again, Naruto couldn't help but be mesmerized by her eyes. To him, it looked even prettier under the moonlight. "Naruto-kun, this is my best friend Hinata Hyuga. We met few months back in this same park. She usually comes here with her mother," she said. After few seconds had passed, Naruto snapped out of his trance and put his hand forward as a sign of friendship and said, "I'm Naruto Namikaze. Pleased to meet you. The Hyuga clan is among the oldest clans in Konohagakure no Sato. Even though it was the Senju clan who had offered them to become part of the village, they went along moderately well with the Uchiha. The Hyuga and Uchiha are the only clans in Konoha who have Dujutsu-based Kekkei Genkei. While the Sharingan allowed the user to see chakra, giving it color in order to distinguish it by its composition and source, the Byakugan allows the user to see the chakra pathways, the Tenketsu points, as well as providing a near 360 field of vision. Hinata herself did not have many friends. Being part of the prestigious Hyuga clan demanded her to hold a certain air of nobility around herself. She was rarely allowed to go out, and there were only few occasions when her mother took her out to the park for a walk. After her sister, Hanabi, was born 2 years earlier, her parents had become extremely busy in taking care of the little baby. Although they never secluded Hinata and loved her immensely, Hinata often felt alone due to the lack of friends. She had been trained in the arts of the Hyuga clan taijutsu katas since the age of 5. Hiyashi couldn't have been any prouder, seeing his firstborn having such aptitude for the juken. Many within the clan described Hinata to have both Hiyashi's and Hitomi's features: Hiyashi's talent in taijutsu and her mother Hitomi's kind and gentle nature. Her training in the shinobi field and her status as the clan heiress often got in her way of making friends. That led to her being rather quiet when meeting new people. She knew who Naruto was. Who in the village didn't know of him? Naruto Namikaze, son of Yondaime Hokage, the greatest Hokage Konoha has ever seen, and the grandson of Madara Uchiha, the greatest trader in the history of Konoha. Her father had told her about the Namikaze clan when she was made to study politics. Because of the Yondaime's actions in the Third Shinobi War and his great help during the Kyubi attack almost 8 years ago, the Namikaze clan had also gained a royalty status within the village. Thus, she was surprised by his offer of friendship. She remembered seeing him last night in the marketplace and wanted to talk to him, but never got around to it. She stared into his eyes and saw the same warmth and kindness she remembered from last night, and it made her feel safe. Holding his hand gently, she replied with a kind smile, "Hello Naruto-kun. I'm Hinata. It's very nice to meet you." Sakura, who was watching the interaction from the side, was looking them with amusement. She knew both Hinata and Naruto belonged to major clans of the village and did not have many friends. She felt glad to have introduced these two. She softly nudged them both on the side. "Well, are you two going to be holding each other's hands all night? Let's go sit somewhere," Sakura said, and giggled when both took their hands back and blushed a little. On second thought, it might be more fun teasing them. "Hi, Sakura-chan," Naruto said with a smile, which made the pink-haired girl to smile faintly. Sakura didn't know why she smiled so much around him. She guessed it was probably because he was her first friend in this village. The three went to the sandbox, where Hinata and Sakura were previously sitting, and sat there comfortably. Naruto felt slightly uncomfortable doing things which kids his age normally do, which was not missed by Hinata. Looking at the two, Sakura felt slightly down, thinking that while most of the students in the class would belong to major clans of Konoha, she was a civilian-based aspiring kunoichi. It was a fact that most of the children belonging to clans were given specialized training of some sort before they are made to enter the academy. Although Sakura's parents were ninja, they were only active chunin during the Third Shinobi World War and had retired after that. She knew while she was smart, she did not have any experience in hand-to-hand combat. "Are you joining the academy, Sakura-chan?" Naruto asked. I will be joining this September. My parents told me that several other clan heirs and heiress will be joining," replied Sakura. However, both Naruto and Hinata could see that she looked somewhat troubled. "Sakura-chan, you seem a bit upset. Has anything happened?" Hinata asked as she rested her hand on shoulder. Naruto smiled at seeing the look of genuine concern on Hinata's face. No, it's nothing," Sakura said as a few tears rolled down her cheeks. Hinata immediately engulfed her in a hug and ran her hand on her back soothingly. Jiraiya had once told Naruto that he was probably the foremost censor in the shinobi world now. Combined with his senjutsu abilities, Naruto could exactly feel one's emotions in their heart. It was an extremely significant compliment made by someone who had witnessed the Nadaime Hokage in battle. Closing his eyes momentarily, Naruto focused his senses on the pink-haired girl and allowed the waves of emotions to enter his mind. Insecurity, timidity, approval of friends. Naruto understood the reasons behind her troubles. The girl did not believe in herself. She considered herself less important compared to others and did not think she could reach out to her dreams. He opened his eyes and frowned seeing her sad. He never liked seeing anyone close to him upset. He too rested his hand on her other shoulder and gave it a gentle squeeze. You will be a great kunoichi one day, Sakura-chan. I believe in you, Naruto said with a kind smile. Sakura's eyes widened on hearing Naruto's words. No one, apart from her parents and Hinata, had ever told that they believed in her. She shut her eyes and thanked the gods for giving her such caring and understanding friends. She saw Naruto gesturing her to come towards him with his left hand. As she moved closer to him, Naruto poked her on the forehead lightly and laughed when he saw her pout. Why do you always do that, Naruto-kun? Asked Sakura as she rubbed the spot. Because it's fun, Sakura-chan. He said simply. It wasn't anything paramount, neither was it said in a striking manner. Just the fact that he understood her and made her laugh was enough for her. Sakura wiped the tears off her face with her hands and sat down beside Hinata. She looked at her only two friends and smiled inwardly. I hope everything always stays like this. Hinata, who had now broken the hug from Sakura, sat in her place neatly. She saw the interaction between the two and wondered if she'll be ever close to anyone that way. Hinata-chan, you two will be joining academy, won't you? It would be fun if all of us are together. Meeting different people and making new friends. Won't it? Sakura asked cheerfully. Naruto and Hinata wondered how she had a complete change in behavior in a split second, but gave no further thoughts to it. Hi. I will be joining the Shinobi Academy this summer. My two sans been training me in our family taijutsu and making me do some physical exercises to better prepare me for the shinobi world. Hinata said politely. Before any one of them could continue their conversations, Naruto heard multiple shuriken coming towards them from their left and right side at a fast pace. Reacting quickly, he yelled at Hinata and Sakura to jump back immediately and he, himself, jumped a few meters back. Not even a few seconds later, the sandbox where they were previously sitting was bombarded with at least 18 or 20 shuriken from both directions. There was dust everywhere in the area, which blinded Naruto, Sakura and Hinata momentarily. As the dust started to clear in the next few seconds, two people jumped out of the ground from behind Sakura and Hinata and grabbed them by their hands and tied them with ninja wire. The two girls gave out a loud shout. But before they could scream any longer, their mouths were stuffed with cloth. Upon hearing the shout, Naruto immediately turned to look towards Sakura and froze on his spot. There were two identical shinobi behind each of them, holding a kunai to their throats. He looked to his left and right and saw two more shinobi standing there, with their hands resting on their kunai pouch. He sensed another shinobi behind himself and cursed himself for not being able to sense any of them earlier. A small black mouse under a nearby tree turned to ink and splattered over the ground, sending the necessary information to the caster of the jutsu. Don't even think about moving from your position, Namikaze. Naruto heard the voice coming from behind. He slowly and carefully turned behind to look at the person speaking. The shinobi was wearing a black cloak. It was quite dark and it made it hard for Naruto to see his face clearly. However, the shinobi looked rather tall and had an Iwagakure headband. Judging from their chakra, they are probably Junin level and those holding Sakura and Hinata are mostly Doden Bunshins seeing as they emerged from the ground and their low chakra reserves. Naruto thought as his mind thought of a way to get out of this situation. Why would Iwagakure shinobi come? To-chan. Naruto realized. Schooling his features vaguely, he asked the shinobi, what do you want with me? Oh, you know. A lot of people were killed by your dear father during the Third Shinobi War. It would only be fair if his only child was killed by an Iwagakure shinobi. Both Minato Namikaze and Madara Uchiha had killed a lot of our shinobi in the past. There are a lot of people in our village who would readily give anything to see you dead. Killing you would be justice, said the man with a twisted smile on his face, as he took out two kunai out from his pouch. He then sunshined in front of his Doden Bunshins who were holding Hinata and Sakura in place. Naruto's heart faltered when he gazed into Hinata's and Sakura's eyes. Fear, apprehension, dread. So many emotions pouring out of them in abundance. He himself was a little alarmed. But he knew, one wrong move on his side and the two girls would be dead. I can't let them die. Naruto trembled a little at that thought. He couldn't let that happen. Sakura was the only other kid his age he was close friends with. He couldn't lose her. And Hinata, he may not have known Hinata for very long, but Naruto knew the girl had a gentle and kind soul. He didn't know why, but she felt different from the other people he has ever met. Even though they only talked for a little while, he considered her a friend. She did not deserve to die. Not because of him. Not because of some foolish man's crusade to get revenge. But if revenge is as you call justice, then that justice breeds yet more revenge, and in the long run it becomes a chain of hatred. Even if you somehow kill me tonight, all it's going to start is another war between our villages. Naruto argued. Naruto looked back at Hinata and Sakura, and saw them panic as the Iwa shinobi stepped right in front of them. Do not hurt them, Naruto asked. Is this your first time seeing someone close to you on the verge of death, child? Asked the same shinobi again, as he turned to face the blonde boy. Naruto just averted his eyes and stared at the ground as he clenched his fists. Why? Why are you doing this? What will you gain by killing them? He asked again. His violet eyes stared into the shinobi's eyes to search for any meaning behind his actions. But all he found was emptiness, anger and hatred. He could hear the muffled screams from Hinata and Sakura. Yet, he couldn't do anything to help them. Sakura and Hinata kept struggling to free themselves from the holds of the ninja wire. But every time they tried, the wire around their hands would get tightened. The leader of the team looked at the young Namikaze's eyes and saw a hint of desperation. It reminded him of the time when he saw his parents' and friends' lifeless bodies for the first time. The desperation that makes one cling to the hope that the reality will change any minute. It never did for him, and he would make sure that the Namikaze suffered the same fate. I see. My name is Iden. My father was a mere chunin in our village. I will honestly say, he was an average shinobi. But he always took care of me. Gave me everything I needed. My mother was an academy teacher. She was a great woman. But do you know what happened to them? Do you know how they died? Asked Iden softly as he looked up at the dark sky. Naruto shut his eyes as he couldn't bear to look at Iden anymore. He had a feeling as to what he was going to say. But he did not want to hear it. They were killed by your father, the Kiiroi Senko. Yelled Iden. They were butchered, along with several of their friends. Several of my friends WHO were sent to the front lines. Thousands of our shinobi were killed by him. Again, Naruto didn't have a reply to that. He knew Konohagakure had mainly won the Third Shinobi War because of Iwagakure's defeat against his father. But he never told him in details what he did to make their village come out victorious. Naruto understood now why he did not, or rather could not. What type of father would he be? Tell his only child that he butchered thousands of Iwagakure shinobi for the sake of his village. Because of his orders from superiors. Because that was the only way to make the rock shinobi back out from the war. So many parents lost their children, men lost their brothers, their sisters, their friends. That day still haunts everyone in our village. Your father shall go through the same pain as them. After I'm done killing you, I think I might take the Hyuga girl back to our village. A pair of Byakugan would be invaluable indeed, and may be of use later on. Said Iden sickly, as he traced his index finger along Hinata's neck. Hinata had tears falling from her eyes upon being touched like that. She didn't know what to do. She felt so afraid, helpless. Even though she had been trained in the shinobi arts, no amount of training could ever prepare a young girl for what the Iwa shinobi was suggesting. She cried in her mind for someone, for anyone to come and help her. Sadly, no one did. Hearing the man talk about killing Naruto followed by Sakura, terrified her. Sakura's body started to tremble badly seeing what the guy was doing to Hinata. And once I take your head back to Tsuchikage-sama, you can be sure Konoha's days will be numbered too. The Kiroi Senko will certainly die by the hands of Tsuchikage-sama. Iden said coldly. With each word the Iwa shinobi spoke, Naruto clenched his fists tighter and his detest towards him intensified. You asked me what I will gain by killing these girls, did you not? You are a naive little child, Naruto. You still haven't witnessed the horrors of the shinobi world. We shinobi are killers. If you do not know the same pain as another, you can never truly understand them. Iden said as he now pressed his kunai a little deeper into Hinata's neck, drawing a little blood. Hinata cried in pain as she saw her blood dripping. Do you hate me now? He asked impassively, staring at the blonde with his arms folded over his chest. This time there was no abhorrence in his voice. A mere question asked for the sake of his satisfaction. Many of Konoha shinobi were also killed during the last shinobi world war by Iwa. Whatever my father did was to protect the village and those he loved. Whatever any Konoha shinobi did during the war was to protect those they love against the enemy. Konoha is not a village made of buildings. Love, peace, camaraderie and most of all the will of fire that is present in each of us Konoha citizens, these are the very essence of Konoha. Naruto said with closed eyes as he could feel how calm the village was at this very moment. Despite of his current predicament, he always felt a sense of relief knowing his family, his village is safe. Ignorant child. There can never be true peace in this cursed ninja world. True peace is nothing but an illusion. Iden spat out. The two shinobis standing on either sides of Naruto looked at Iden warily. They were aware of how devastated he was when he heard the news of his parents' and friends' deaths. Even they were saddened on hearing the news. But they never showed such animosity openly, not against innocent children at least. But looking at the blonde Namikaze, they did not feel a hint of remorse for what they set out to do. Minato Namikaze and Madara Uchiha were both hated in the Rock Village. For they knew, both had forsaken their humanity and butchered thousands of people of their village. And knowing that the boy before them was their descendant, made him a threat in their eyes. There is no point in overthinking anything, young Namikaze. Come with us without too much of trouble and we just might let the pink-haired girl go. He said somewhat smugly. So many different thoughts were racing through Naruto's mind as he looked down at the ground. Why is there so much hatred in the shinobi world? Can there ever be true peace? Can shinobi from different villages ever learn to trust one another? Will the endless killing in the shinobi world ever stop? What will it be, Namikaze? I don't have all night. 10 seconds, otherwise the pink one dies here. To prove his point, Iden pointed his kunai straight at Sakura's jugular vein. Naruto's face portrayed no emotions as his mind became clouded by those views. His eyes hardened as he resolved himself. He couldn't, no, he can't lose his father. He loved him the most. He was his world after all. He looked at Sakura and Hinata briefly and knew, he couldn't lose them either. They were his friends. His only friends, he would do what was needed to protect those he cared about. He could feel his chakra flowing into his eyes and at that moment his eyes glowed red. Iden saw the kid move his head up slowly and looked at him straight in the eyes, which made him take a step backward involuntarily. He composed himself right after. Staring into those eyes, Iden realized he had never seen such cold eyes in one so young before. The Sharingan, the eye that reflects the heart. It is said that when a wielder of the Sharingan Kekkei Genkei experiences powerful emotions regarding a person precious to them, their brain releases a special form of chakra that affects the optic nerves, transforming the eyes into Sharingan. Iden felt as if his entire soul was being judged under the gaze of those red eyes. He could see the love he had for his family. The love he had for his village. Staring into those eyes, he understood one fact. Naruto's love for Konoha is far greater than his hatred for the leaf. The two shinobi took a step forward and readied their kunai in their hands. I know what you're thinking, Naruto, I won't stop you either. I will be there in case you need any help. Kurama said seriously. I won't let them or anyone lay a finger on my family. Naruto thought. He took a deep breath and composed himself for what he knew would be inevitable. Let them go. Otherwise, I will kill you all. Naruto whispered and could feel his chakra riling up. Hinata and Sakura looked at Naruto with wide eyes, for they had heard what he whispered. What was that? Iden asked bitterly. Iden looked at his two team members from the corner of his eyes and gave them the signal to move towards the blonde. I said, let them go. Naruto yelled as he punched the ground with his right hand, which was coated with large amounts of chakra. Several cracks started to develop on the ground and traveled outwards from where Naruto's fist connected. However, before the three shinobi could reach Naruto, the entire training ground shook violently, forming a large crater. Several large and small pieces of rocks were sent flying in different directions and as a result there was a cloud of dust covering the area. The three Iwa shinobi lost their footing on the ground and were thrown backwards due to the impact. The Doden buncheons that were holding Sakura and Hinata were immediately crumbled to dust as several of the rocks crashed into them from random directions. Sakura was already unconscious by this point due to the large amounts of chakra that was pouring out of Naruto. Hinata was able to hold out for a little longer, but eventually succumbed too. Before she did, she looked back at Naruto one last time and whispered. Naruto. Naruto, who was crouched down, quickly found out Sakura and Hinata's position through his sensory abilities. He made a single hand seal and formed a cage bunshin. The cage bunshin immediately shunshined to their location and got them out of the area promptly, heading straight towards the Hokage Tower. As the dust started to clear, the three Iwa shinobi could be seen standing on the far edges of the training ground. Blood was dripping from several places on their body. It was a clear indication that they were smashed by several of the rocks that were sent flying around. The three glared at the boy standing before them in pure hatred and couldn't comprehend the fact about how a boy so young had such monstrous strength. They knew their mission was compromised now and proper protocol indicated to abandon the mission. However, hate is an extremely compelling emotion. Makes one do things their rational mind wouldn't normally do. The three shinobi took out their kunai and readied themselves. They slowly walked ahead, step by step, and soon enough, they were running towards the blonde. Naruto stood in the middle of the destroyed ground. The cold gust of wind hitting his face under the moonlight as a few golden brown locks of his hair that fell over his right eye moved with the rhythmic movement of the wind. His two-tomo Sharingan glowed brightly in the dark. He saw the Iwa shinobi running towards him with kunai placed in their hands. To any normal shinobi, they would be blurs. But his eyes could track their every movement. He picked up a kunai that was lying beside him on the ground and readied himself for what he was about to do. If you don't want to, you don't have to do it, Naruto. I'm sure Minato would have felt your chakra by now. Even Kurama felt a little sympathetic towards the blonde. Naruto's love for those he considered family was far too great. The boy reminded Kurama a lot of Indra. Both loved their families deeply. Both wanted nothing more than to live peacefully with their loved ones. But this cursed world had changed Indra. The hatred in this world molded the hatred and the darkness in Indra. He would be damned if he let the same fate consume Naruto. This is something I must do, Kurama. It's true this shinobi world is pinned to a never-ending cycle of hatred. It's also true people cannot truly understand each other if they don't understand each other's pain. But if there's darkness in this world, then there's also light. One cannot exist without the other. Naruto whispered, more to himself rather than to Kurama. Not even a second later, the three Iwa shinobi jumped towards Naruto. Two from the left and one straight ahead of him. Naruto ducked under Iden's punch swiftly and rolled to his right. Getting up quickly, he gave a powerful punch to the man on his ribs. Iden went crashing to the side and fell unconscious as the sickening sound of his ribs cracking could be heard. However, Naruto made sure not to kill him immediately. His eyes then landed on the other two shinobi who were now looking at the young blonde cautiously. Reacting quickly, Naruto backflipped from his position to avoid a kick that was aimed at his thigh by the second shinobi. Naruto's Sharingan quickly picked up the third shinobi, jumping in the air and throwing his kunai coated with chakra straight at Naruto's heart with flawless accuracy. Gripping his kunai firmly, Naruto deflected the one that was aimed at his heart. Just as Naruto was about to jump at the third shinobi, he ducked under several shuriken that were thrown at him. Maneuvering around the shuriken with practiced ease, Naruto coated his kunai with futon chakra. Keeping the location of the third shinobi in his mind, who was to his right now, Naruto threw the chakra-coated kunai straight towards the second shinobi. Due to the dark, it was slightly difficult for the Iwa shinobi to see around themselves. Before the second shinobi knew what had happened, a kunai passed straight through his head, killing him instantly. As his lifeless body fell on the ground with a resounding thud, the third one immediately stopped in his tracks. He looked to his right and to his horror, his friend was lying there with a hole in his head. Overcome with anger, he ran towards the boy. Naruto somberly looked at the shinobi who was running straight at him. He slowly touched his cheek and found a few tears to be rolling down. He didn't even know when he had started crying. As the shinobi was mere inches away from him, Naruto swatted away his sloppy attempt to thrust the kunai with his right hand. Sidestepping him quickly, Naruto made a single hand seal. Behind Naruto, the water in the atmosphere condensed, forming several needle-like water bullets. As the shinobi turned to face Naruto, his eyes widened at his imminent death. Suiten no jutsu, water release. Water bullet technique, whispered Naruto as he simply pointed his finger towards the terrified shinobi. A painful scream was made by the man, his eyes becoming white as saucers before closing for the last time as he too fell dead on the ground as the water bullets tore through his body in various places, splattering his blood everywhere. The last thing the Iwa shinobi saw was the remorse in the glowing Sharingan eyes. A few splashes of blood fell on Naruto, but either he didn't notice them or was too shocked at what he had done. Naruto slumped down on the ground as he sobbed looking at what he had done. Not even a few minutes later, 3 people landed near the clearing and their eyes widened at the scene in front of them. 2 shinobi lying dead on the ground. One with a hole through his head and another with various holes in several parts of his body with water around him, indicating the usage of Suiten Jutsu. They looked around carefully and found the 3rd shinobi lying there unconscious. Their eyes then moved to the the young boy who was sobbing silently with his eyes closed. The blood dripping from his face and onto the ground, forming a small puddle. Naruto did not even notice when someone laid a hand on his left shoulder gently, and brought him into a tight embrace. "Shish, it's all right Naru, don't worry. I'm here now." 4 months later. Almost 4 months had passed since the intended attack on Naruto and many people's lives had changed undesirably. The populace of Konoha had become aware of the attack and the news had spread swiftly amongst everyone. The revelation that the Hokage's son, Naruto Namikaze, killed 2 Junin-level shinobi and incapacitated another while saving a civilian girl and the Hyuga clan heiress had become the talk of the town within the village. Several of the villagers who glared at the young boy because of the demon in him changed their views of him upon learning of his actions. The news of Naruto's actions had spread to other villages as well, despite Minato trying to keep it hidden. The relations between Konoha and Iwagakure had further deteriorated after the event. Konoha had closed off all their trade routes within Imegakure and Kusagakure, the only 2 viable paths for the rock shinobi to get to Hai no Kuni, Fire Nation. The fact that a village was willing to send their own shinobi to another for the assassination of Uchiha's family during these times had caused tension between the villages. The temporary peace which had settled over the elemental nations after the 3rd Shinobi War looked fragile and the slightest of friction between the villages had the possibility of igniting another war. However, the only solace for Minato among all this disarray was that neither Kurigakure nor Sunagakure were ready for another war, either financially or in terms of their military assets. The rumors of an uprising within Kurigakure had made the other nations steer away from the water country and cut off all business trades with them. Despite appearing moderately well to the other great 4 nations in the elemental nations, Sunagakure had started to struggle in the past few years financially. The Land of Wind's daimyo started outsourcing missions previously given to Sunagakure to Konoha instead. The Yondaime Kazekage began selling gold dust to try to make up for the loss of funding. Even so, the situation did not look well for Sunagakure. Sakura and Hinata had been awfully appalled by what they had gone through that night. Sakura had not stepped out of the house much in the following months. Being a civilian girl, she did not have much knowledge in the obscure events that often took place in the shinobi world. Minato had provided intensive medical care for Sakura, in hopes that she could move past these events. Hinata too had been extremely horrified, despite being taught about such activities from a young age. She had been looked after by Hiyashi, Hitomi and by the personal medics of the Hyuga clan. Hinata's escorts outside the compound had been doubled for her protection in case of any unforeseen situations. However, Naruto's life had transformed the most from the experience of that night. Ever since he awakened the Sharingan, his demeanor had somewhat changed. He was now more reserved and only showed his normal self to the people he trusted. He still smiled around people and engaged in conversations with others if he was approached. But the change was visible to those who knew Naruto on a more personal level. It was different for him to hear tales about the horrors of the shinobi world compared to going through it himself. Taking a life. But he understood why he had to do it. He had no qualms about what he did. He felt rather content that he could protect his 2 precious friends. However, he started to develop doubts in his mind about the current shinobi world. He knew from the anecdotes told by his father that the current period was a time of temporary peace. Albeit, one that Naruto believed would last. He wanted it to last. He just wanted to stay happy in his home with his father and talk with his friends. Why couldn't people stay happy with what they have? Naruto questioned himself of the enigma on several occasions. All he received was a profound emptiness of thoughts in his mind. And dropped the question every time. It's time to go home now, Naruto. You have been sitting here for far too long, said Kurama. The fox understood the doubts Naruto had in his mind. He, himself, held immense hatred towards humans for how they treated the Biju and the misguided use of Rakuto's religion. However, he also dreaded what would happen if Naruto ever lost himself in the darkness. The boy held power in himself, far greater than anything comprehensible by human minds. I know, just a few more minutes, Naruto told his partner as he stared at the moon from the edge of the river. He had always felt a strange connection to the moon, like it was beckoning him to observe it more carefully. Lately, he had been visiting the Naka River quite often. Every evening, Naruto would come here after his training and relax in the warm embrace of his ancestors' land. The Naka River, also known as the River of Southern Joy, is where the Uchiha clan once lived and prospered. A couple of months back, the Uchiha clan had been moved from their ancestral grounds to the far west side of the village, against the wishes of the Yondaime. Danzo had met with the fire daimyo without Minato's knowledge and argued to relocate the Uchiha. He had convinced the daimyo of this course of action with the help of one of daimyo's grandsons, Senzo. Ever since Danzo's unknown visit to the fire daimyo, Minato had highly restricted his movements within the village, reduced his personal bodyguards and stripped him of his rights as a shinobi. He knew he could not take further actions against Danzo right now, as it may lead to a revolt within the village. Danzo had highly objected to Minato's decisions and had said that he had no hand in it, but was threatened by Minato to be put in a high-security prison. Minato knew he had every reason to put the old war hawk in prison or just kill him, but he was still useful to Konoha. He may be a conniving old man who wished for Konoha to rule over everyone else, but he wished for Konoha's safety. So, Minato had decided to keep him in play for as long as he didn't pose any outward threat to Konoha. Even though the Uchiha were given the reason as property enhancement within several of the clan compounds for their relocation, the Uchiha clan were aware of the fact of why they were relocated. Even almost 8 years after the grisly night, they were still suspected behind the Kyuubi attack. The fact that the Uchiha can control the Biju with their Sharingan and were nowhere to be seen during the attack did not bode well with their case. You say that every time, Naruto. You should go home. You're starting the academy tomorrow. You should stop thinking about those shinobis, Naruto, replied the Kyuubi as he sighed. I know, Kurama. I'm trying, Naruto thought calmly. He got up from the ground and wiped his shirt of the grass that stuck to it. As he turned around to walk up the steep ground, his eyes landed on Sasuke, who was walking all alone. Judging from the minor burnt scratches on his face, Naruto presumed he must have been training to perform the jutsu for the coming-of-age rite, which every member of the clan must go through to be able to wear the Uchiha clan symbol on their back. Sasuke saw Naruto stare at him calmly and it vexed him somewhat. They both were of the same age, but the difference in their skill was far too vast. Flashback 2 months ago, Sasuke was practicing a Kaiden jutsu on the edge of the Naka River. He had been pestering his father to teach him the Kaiden, Gokyaku no Jutsu for a few weeks now. He knew Itachi could perform the jutsu when he was only 6 years old. Sasuke had noticed how his father looked at Itachi, like he was the only one that mattered. He had asked Itachi on several occasions to teach him, but he always received the same answer. Forgive me, Sasuke. Maybe next time. Today, his father had finally agreed to teach him the Kaiden jutsu and he was extremely delighted. Sasuke, are you listening? Fugaku asked sternly. He had been so lost in his thoughts that he didn't notice his father speak. He gave a sheepish grin and shook his head. Listen to me intently. I'm not going to repeat myself again, Fugaku said. After receiving a silent nod, Fugaku went on to explain the fundamentals of the basics regarding the simple Kaiden jutsu. Just as Fugaku was about to show Sasuke the hand seals to perform the jutsu, he felt a presence of chakra behind him. He turned behind to find Naruto standing there with a smile and a note in his hand. Naruto, what brings you here? Fugaku asked politely. Naruto bowed before the man, to show his respect to the Uchiha clan leader. Fugaku-sama, Two-chan wishes to speak to you regarding an important matter. Naruto replied as he handed the letter to Fugaku. Taking the letter from the young blonde, Fugaku went through the contents of the letter cautiously. His face became serious as he finished reading it and put the letter inside one of his pockets. He was about to leave when he remembered about Sasuke. He turned back to face his son and saw him ideally standing there. He knew he did not give much attention to Sasuke compared to Itachi and did feel guilty about it. But the situation within the Uchiha clan was getting grave with every passing minute, and most of his time passed in thinking of a way out of the mess the elders in the clan were suggesting regarding their course of action about their future in the village. "Sasuke, do you want to learn the jutsu today?" Fugaku asked. "Hai-to-san," Sasuke said eagerly. Closing his eyes for a second, he turned back to Naruto and asked him to come forward. "Naruto, would you help Sasuke in teaching the Kaden jutsu? You know which one I'm talking about," requested Fugaku. Having already felt what the man was feeling, Naruto accepted gladly as he had nothing much to do right now. He figured he could also become friends with Sasuke while they were training together. "But, To-san, you said you would teach me the jutsu. How can he even perform the jutsu? We both are the same age," Sasuke argued childishly. Fugaku sighed as he heard his youngest son's words. While Itachi was calm and collected, Sasuke was more prone to act on his emotions. Feeling slightly irked that his abilities were being doubted, Naruto walked to the edge of the Naka River, gaining Sasuke's and Fugaku's attention. Making the Tora hand seal, he kneaded Kaden chakra into his lungs and said, "Kaden, Gokyaku no Jutsu, fire style, fireball jutsu," breathing a large ball of fire towards the lake. Due to the extreme heat of the fireball, much of the water got evaporated in the process. Sasuke's eyes widened on seeing Naruto execute the technique perfectly. He turned to his father and saw the same look on his face he had when he was with Itachi. It made him frown. Satisfied with his work, Naruto turned around to look at Sasuke. "I can perform the jutsu perfectly, Sasuke. If you wish, I could help you in learning it. We could become friends also, you know," Naruto said kindly. Deciding to let the two kids settle their argument, Fugaku sunshined to the Namikaze compound to speak with Minato. Sasuke had his arms folded over his chest and a small frown on his face as he saw his father disappear in a swirl of leaves. He had seen several ninjas perform the technique and found it to be intriguing. "So, what do you say, Sasuke?" Naruto asked again as he extended his right hand forward. Glaring at the blonde, Sasuke puffed his cheeks and walked away, intent on returning to his home and looking for Itachi. Confused by Sasuke's demeanor, Naruto shrugged his shoulders, looked to his left in the corner of the trees once and sunshined to his house. In the corner of the trees stood Itachi as he stared at the spot where Naruto and Sasuke once stood. "You didn't have to turn out like this, foolish little brother." Flashback end. The entire Uchiha clan knew how gifted Naruto was and Sasuke envied him for that. Naruto was the youngest within the Uchiha clan to have a fully matured Sharingan. Sasuke, too, wished to be proficient enough to be noticed. To be something in his brother's eyes, for his father to be proud of him. He glared at Naruto for a few seconds and walked away without a word. Seeing as he did not have anything else to do, Naruto walked to his home so he could rest for tomorrow. Next morning, the following day, Naruto woke up groggily to the ringing of his alarm. Last night after he got home, Naruto had a decent dinner with his father and went off to his room to immerse himself into his books till late night. Naruto had found a little interest in Fuinjutsu, which led him to learning a bit on the rare shinobi art. He knew he couldn't hope to be as elegant as his father in the art, but he wished to be proficient enough in it. These were some of the recent interests which Naruto had delved into. He realized that being only strong was not good enough in the shinobi world. He was aware he was excessively strong. But if he wasn't smart enough to understand a situation he was in, where his power alone could not help him out, he would be as useless as a rookie, which ironically, he was, in terms of experience. Getting up from his bed, he walked to the washroom to fresh himself up. A half an hour later, Naruto exited, after having a bath. He was a little anxious about today. He did not have many friends of his own age group apart from Sakura and Hinata. He briefly wondered how the other children in his class would be. Deciding not to put too much thought into it right now, he dressed himself quickly and went downstairs to meet his father. He wore his usual gray t-shirt and black pants accompanied with his black gloves. He had decided to wear his maroon-colored kimono tied with a black sash around his waist today, which had the Uchiha clan symbol at the back. Getting downstairs, Naruto saw his father sitting on the dining table going through a few papers. He had a cup beside him, which Naruto guessed was coffee. A smile formed on his face seeing his father so busy with his work. Even though he was the Hokage, he always found time for him and never made him feel alone. "Tu-chan, hurry up. We have to go to the academy in a few minutes," Naruto said as he walked towards the table and sat beside his father. Minato smiled watching his son, dressed up for his first day at academy. He knew there wasn't anything much Naruto would learn which he doesn't already know. But that wasn't the main reason he wanted Naruto to join the academy. No matter how powerful one may be, life never feels complete if there's no one to share it with. Minato wanted him to get to know more people. To make friends. He wanted Naruto to feel that there are more people he could always rely on. "I know, Naru. We'll be going in a few minutes. Eat your breakfast and then we'll walk there," Minato said as he ruffled Naruto's hair playfully. Nodding his head happily, Naruto filled his bowl with some milk and cereal. Finishing it quickly, he had a banana and a glass of orange juice. He had learned to eat healthy for the past few years, although a few times a week he still went to his favorite ramen stand in Konoha, Ichiraku Ramen. He would never in his life give up ramen for anything. After the breakfast was done with, Naruto and Minato walked out of the Namikaze compound to go to the Konoha Academy. As Naruto and Minato headed to the academy, many people greeted their yondaime and waved at young Naruto. The young blonde was surprised by the sudden change in people's behavior. Ever since he could remember, these very people glared at him and spoke behind his back. And now, the very same villagers smiled at him as if nothing had ever happened. He knew it was mainly because he had saved Hinata, the heiress of the Hyuga clan. But it still made him wonder at how shallow can people be. However, he also understood their feelings. Their inner conflicts. To the civilians of Konohagakure, he is the living reminder of what they lost on that fateful night of the Kyuubi attack. The people did not hate him. They despised the Kyuubi for taking away their loved ones. But, he wanted to change that. He wanted people to understand the Biju. That they too are the victims here. The victims of the viscous cycle of hate and greed. Minato felt relieved that the people of Konoha had started to accept Naruto. He knew what Naruto did change him in some ways. There is no greater pain for a parent to watch their child suffer and be helpless about it. In a way, he was thankful to Onoki. He knew it was wrong for him to think that, but it made him glad to see the villagers finally viewing Naruto as a hero. Something which his son was meant to be. Both the Namikazes were minutes away from the academy when an aged woman outside of a grocery store greeted Naruto with a warm smile. "Hello Naruto-sama. It is good to see you this morning with Hokage-sama. Today's the day you're joining the academy, right?" she asked kindly. "You don't have to call me Naruto-sama. You are older than me and it wouldn't suit you well. Please call me Naruto." Naruto replied with a happy smile as the woman nodded. He could feel that the lady wished for him to do well and it elated him. "Hi. I will be joining the academy today. I am really excited," Naruto said with a big smile. Minato couldn't help but notice the bright smile that was etched on Naruto's face. "That's good to hear Naruto-kun. Well, good luck and do your best. I will be rooting for you," said the woman as she waved goodbye with a smile. Naruto smiled and waved back as he held on to his father's hand and continued towards the academy. Things had definitely taken a turn for everyone within the village since the Iwa incident. At the academy, every shinobi village in the elemental nations houses an academy where young children are sent to prosper into shinobi. In the academy, the prospective students are taught the history of the shinobi world, the fundamentals of shinobi arts such taijutsu hand-to-hand combat, weapons handling kunai and shuriken throwing and rudimentary exercises to help control one's chakra. The teachers in the academy hold timely examinations to assess the students' progress and determine whether they are qualified to lead the life of a shinobi. The Konoha Academy is quite large and is comprised of several buildings which were erected over time since the reign of the Shodai Hokage. The building can be commonly identified by the tree which has a swing in front of it and more so by the giant sign with the kanji for fire on it. Along with being a school, the academy is also the area where the Hokage's office is located, which is where the missions are dispatched and the day-to-day running of the village takes place. Soon enough, Naruto and Minato reached the academy and Naruto was becoming anxious each passing second, wondering if Sakura and Hinata too would be joining. He remembered them telling him that they would, but he wasn't sure after the incident involving Iwa shinobis. He wanted them to join so he would at least know someone in the classroom. Minato felt his son's hand shake slightly and knew what he was feeling. The nervousness of being able to make friends. He chuckled as he too had similar thoughts on his first day. He knelt and turned Naruto so they would be facing each other. He looked him in the eyes warmly and said, "It's going to be okay, Naru. It's your first day in the academy, and it is okay to be nervous. Trust me, even I was." Naruto chuckled as he heard his father's words. "What's so funny, huh?" Minato asked as he eyed him. "Nothing. It's just hard to find you nervous about anything. You are so brave and confident all the time." Naruto replied innocently. "You have no idea how many times I have been nervous in my life, Naru. Now come on, get going. You don't want to be late on your first day now, do you?" Minato said as he let out a small laugh, seeing Naruto's slight panicked reaction. Naruto nodded and quickly ran off inside the academy building as he waved goodbye to his father. Minato smiled as he watched his son go off inside the building. If only you could see him now, Kushina. Our son has grown so much. Minato thought. He waited outside the building for few more minutes and then disappeared to the Hokage's office using the Hiraishin seal placed on the desk. As Naruto knocked and walked into the room he was assigned, he found a man who he guessed was his teacher to be standing near his desk and many students sitting on his right side staring at him. The classroom was large and had high ceilings. It even had a blackboard facing opposite to the student's desk and a podium in front of it. The podium was situated in a position such that the teacher could view everyone in the class at once. Naruto's sharp eyes scanned the students quickly and found Sakura to be sitting on the second row and Hinata to be sitting in the last one. He smiled inwardly. "Who might you be?" asked the man. "I'm Naruto Namikaze. I'm also a student who entered the academy this year," Naruto said politely. The man stared at the boy impassively for a few seconds, but smiled the very next. Naruto could hear many of the students whispering in their seats about him and the fact that the Hokage's son is going to be studying in their class. "Namikaze. Yondaime Hokage's son. I heard he is really strong. He looks so good, his long hair and whisker marks make him look adorable," muttered some of the girls. Naruto didn't know what to think about those, so he waited for the man to say something. "I'm Iruka Umino. I will be your teacher for the next 4 years. You may take any free seat available, Naruto," Iruka said. Iruka was a man of average height and build. He had black hair that he kept in a ponytail and a horizontal scar across his nose. He wore the standard Chunin outfit of Konoha with a blue headband tied around his forehead. He knew about the Kyuubi being sealed into the Hokage's son and despised the fox for killing his parents and in a way, held Naruto responsible for it too. However, his beliefs about the child began to change when he heard about the Hokage's son killing 2 Junins and saving a civilian girl along with the Hyuga clan heiress. He had decided to keep his views on the boy unbiased until he saw him with his own eyes. Naruto nodded his head as he turned to his right to look for any empty seats. He saw many of the girls looking at him strangely and felt slightly uneasy. He quickly found an empty seat on the far right in the last row and quickly walked up there and took his seat. Looking to his right, Naruto found a strange boy. He had short black hair and black eyes in contrast to his translucent-looking pale skin. His face showed no signs of emotion and he looked to be staring at Iruka blankly. Getting a feel of his chakra, Naruto was shocked, as it felt to be troubled. Deep down within the boy, Naruto felt the boy held a lot of pain. "I'm Naruto," said the blonde as he extended his hand to the boy. The boy in question looked at Naruto for a good while impassively. He was surprised by Naruto's actions and wondered why the Hokage's son would want anything to do with him. However, none of that surprise was displayed on his face. It was as plain as a blank canvas. "Sigh," said the boy as he held Naruto's hand. Naruto smiled faintly at the thought of making new friend. Seeing as everyone had taken their seats, Iruka viewed everyone in his class with a critical eye. This would be first time that so many clan heirs are present in one class. Not to mention the clan heirs of the Uchiha, Hyuga and Namikaze clans. The 3 most influential clans within Konoha. This will be an interesting class, Iruka thought. "Alright class, as you already know, my name is Iruka Umino. You may call me Iruka sensei. I will be your teacher for the next 4 years. Another teacher, Mizuki, will also be assisting me with teaching you. Since today's only our first class, we will begin with some history lessons and then move on to taijutsu lessons outside. After that, we will begin with theory on chakra. Uruka announced. So, he began with the history of Konohagakure no Sato, accounting the tales of Shodai Hokage and how the village was formed. Even though Naruto knew this part extremely well, he listened to it intently. Some of the students groaned at the fact of learning history lessons, claiming it to be uncool. Again, Naruto seemed confused at other students' behavior. He had always been taught that history was an important part for any shinobi to know and he loved the subject. It was also a significant task for a shinobi to know the history of any area that they would be traveling to for their missions. After an hour had passed, Naruto looked around the class and found many of the students to be uninterested in what Uruka was saying. He saw a boy with pineapple-shaped hair to be sleeping, while another chubby boy was eating a bag of chips without a care in the world. He found the sight to be hilarious and had to hold in his laughter. He looked at Sakura, who was sitting next to a platinum blonde-haired girl. Hinata was sitting next to a boy with a puppy on his head. Judging by her face, Naruto guessed that Hinata, too, knew the topic Uruka was talking about currently. His eyes finally landed on Sasuke, who was sitting in the same row as him, a few seats below him. He couldn't see his face, but he was sure he had a little scowl on his face. After the theory about the history of Shodai Hokage had ended, Uruka ordered everyone to form a K and follow him outside to the training ground. Naruto was personally excited now, as it was time for the taijutsu exercises and he wanted to see how everyone fared in hand-to-hand combat. He knew he was miles ahead of the students in his class in taijutsu, but that did not mean the others had no knowledge in this art. As everyone assembled outside, Uruka called out everyone's name again and Naruto was surprised to find several of the children belonging to major clans in Konoha. He saw a group of few students standing in a group at the side and wondered if they all knew each other before starting at the academy. He looked at Sai who was standing beside him and thought of coming with him to talk to others. But looking at his blank expression, he decided not to. He went over to them and said, "Hello, I'm Naruto. I'm Kiba Inuzuka. And this is my Ninken Akamaru." Kiba said enthusiastically and Akamaru gave a small bark. Kiba had feral-looking features which could be accounted by his messy brown hair, sharp-looking canines and the distinctive red fang markings similar to every Inuzuka clan member on each of his cheek. Shikamaru was lazily looking at the sky when he noticed Naruto looking at him. He found all this introduction stuff to be quite troublesome but knew that he had to do it. Similar to most members of the Nara clan, Shikamaru was born with an exceptional mind. Despite being portrayed as lazy, he noticed and understood things which could often be missed by normal eyes or minds. He had narrow brown eyes and a typical expression which indicated that he was bored. He had shoulder-length black hair, which he kept tied in a ponytail. "Shikamaru Nara. It's nice to meet you," Shikamaru said with a yawn, rather lazily. This made Naruto wonder if the boy was interested in anything. "I'm Choji Akamichi," Naruto heard the chubby boy say who was continuously munching on his chips. Like any other Akamichi, Choji had a rotund build and markings on his cheeks in the form of swirls. He had spiky brown hair that sticks upwards. "Shino Aburame," said Shino quietly. Sporting the same look as the rest of his clan, Shino wore dark sunglasses and a sea-green jacket with high upturned collar. He was fair-skinned and almost as tall as Naruto, who was the tallest among their class. He had dark, bushy brown hair, however many of his friends wondered what his eyes looked like since he always wore those sunglasses. "It's really nice to meet you. I'm just so surprised that there are so many clan heirs in our class," Naruto said, intending the conversation to go ahead. "How do you know we are all clan heirs?" Shikamaru asked curiously as they never brought it up. "I remember my two-chan telling me about the class a bit few days before the academy started. I also read a lot about the history of Konohagakure in which the prominent clans of this village was a main topic. Like the Nara clan you come from Shikamaru, it's known for producing geniuses and the most well-known in your clan being your father, Shikaku Nara, the current Junin commander. Then Choji's clan is well known for their immense physical strength with their expansion jutsu and in their business for owning a few restaurants in Konoha. Kiba belongs to the Inuzuka clan, known for their tracking ability and amazing taijutsu skills. They are also known for their partnership with their dogs, similar to the Aburame clan with their bugs, who specialize in utilizing bugs in almost all of their jutsu. The Aburames are known to be logical people and are good in formulating plans. At the end of Naruto's explanations, all the four people were staring at Naruto with stupefied expressions. However, they were also glad in respect to how Naruto had described their clans. Choji was happy that Naruto didn't talk about his size or weight. Kiba was glad that Naruto was aware of how great the Inuzukas were, and Shino gave a quiet nod of agreement. While Naruto was talking to Kiba, Choji and Shino about how they knew each other, what sort of training they did, Shikamaru keenly observed the young Namikaze. Based on what he had seen of Naruto today and what he had heard of him in the past, he found him to be an enigma. He had heard his mother talk to other people about how the Hokage's son had killed 2 Junin-level shinobi and rescued the Hyuga clan heiress and a civilian. It was hard for him to believe it at that time, but looking at the way Naruto held himself and always remained aware of his surroundings, he could see the truth in it. Everyone, listen carefully. Iruka called, gaining the students' attention. I will call out 2 students' names, and they will have a taijutsu match for 2 minutes to let me observe where everyone stands. Iruka said. Akane and Iruka started. 2 years and 2 months later. It had been a little over 2 years since Naruto had started his new life. The life of meeting new friends, befriending them, doing what children his age is supposed to do, and beginning his journey to become an actual shinobi for the Konoha village. In the past few years, Naruto had become good friends with Shikamaru, Choji, Kiba and Shino. Kiba talked the most in the group and Naruto found him to be a fun person to hang out with. Shikamaru and Choji were mostly seen together, and Naruto also tried out Shikamaru's ritualistic habit of watching clouds, which he found to be quite relaxing. Even though Shino did not speak much, Naruto always found a way to involve the quiet boy in group talks, and he had come to like the bug user. All in all, Naruto got along with these 4 boys the most. He also met Ino Yamanaka, clan heiress of the Yamanaka clan, who was childhood friends with Shikamaru and Choji. He found her to be a bit weird, as she would often look for different excuses to talk to Sasuke. And being the oblivious girl that she was, like many other girls in the class, she found Sasuke's uncaring attitude to be cool and mysterious. Naruto, Hinata and Sakura had gotten closer to each other in the past year. They often met outside of the academy and trained with each other, along with studying and doing their homework together. They had spoken about how their life had changed and how their beliefs about the shinobi world altered after that incident, and there were times when both Naruto and Hinata had to console Sakura, as she still had terrifying nightmares of that night at times. Naruto and Hinata especially had gotten to know each other a lot better. Ever since the incident with the Iwa shinobi, the Hyuga clan had come to respect Naruto immensely. Both Minato and Naruto had been invited for dinner to the Hyuga's main house on several occasions. During class, Naruto mostly sat with his 2 best friends, which seemed to draw the glares from several other girls in the class, much to Naruto's confusion. Despite their close relationship with one another, Sakura had this uncomfortable feeling whenever she saw Naruto and Hinata so close. She didn't know what it was and didn't want to find out, at the prospect of it hurting her or making her lose her friendship with Naruto and Hinata. When Naruto talked to his father about a few girls staring at him strangely, Minato laughed and ruffled his son's hair playfully while saying, "This is not something that even you can avoid, Naru." And true to his father's words, Naruto often sensed many of the girls following him secretly and at times chasing after him openly. Naruto had come across the bane of academy, the fangirls. Scholastically, Naruto's time in the Shinobi Academy was a breeze. He had been ranked as the top student always. Whether be it in written tests, taijutsu, ninjutsu, weapons throwing or genjutsu. Sasuke, who was ranked second continuously, still seemed to hold a grudge against Naruto for reasons unknown to the blonde. However, not everything was as it seemed. Even though Naruto liked the academy, as it was where he was able to spend more time with his friends, he disliked the academy's training. The things which the students were being taught to be genin would never help them out to survive in the shinobi world. However, the worst part till now which he discovered were the fangirls. Many of the girls in the class were obsessed with boys and believed in mythological tales where they would be saved by their lovers. Meanwhile, there were many civilian boys who considered themselves to be good in everything despite the actuality. He spoke to his father regarding the matter and was told the stress for prospective genin in the academy was reduced mainly since there was a time of temporary peace between the nations earlier. But Minato too had known the curriculum in the academy was not up to the mark. Furthermore, with their relations with Iwagakure completely cut off, there was a lot of uncertainty among different villages in the future. Thus, he had decided to implement certain changes from year 3 onwards in the academy. Snapping those thoughts out of his mind, Naruto got out of his clothes and went to washroom to get a bath. He came out about a minute later and looked at himself in the mirror. His eyes morphed into blood-red eyes, portraying the 3 tomos in it, and soon enough, his eyes turned back to their original violet color. Today marked the last class of the 2nd year in the academy and held a written test and a taijutsu match between students as an examination. Naruto was so engrossed in thoughts about how the last year passed so quickly that he realized he was going to be late for the exam. He quickly put on his clothes and sunshined in front of the academy. He went towards his class and knocked on the door. "Come in," Ruruka said from inside the class. Naruto entered the class and saw his teacher staring at him intently. At first, he was indifferent towards Naruto, but after time, he came to see Naruto as more than just the kyuubi. After watching Naruto interact with his friends in the class and talking to him, Ruruka found him to be a very kind-hearted boy who loved his friends. After that, he opened up to Naruto and now they were good friends, or siblings if one could say. "Naruto, why are you 15 minutes late for class?" questioned Ruruka sternly. Even though he considered Naruto to be someone special to himself, he never showed any favoritism to any one student. "Sorry Uruka-sensei, I was training last night till late and woke up late today due to that. It won't happen again," Naruto answered honestly. Uruka sighed and told him to take his seat. Nodding his head, Naruto found an empty seat between Hinata and Kiba. "Morning Naruto-kun." Hinata greeted Naruto with a smile. Naruto smiled as he inhaled the smell of lavender from her. He knew Hinata usually sat with her mother in her garden and picked flowers at times. And he loved that smell. "Morning Hinata-chan," Naruto said as he smiled back. Looking at Kiba, who was sleeping soundly beside him, Naruto smirked. Discreetly making a single hand seal, a small amount of water condensed in the palm of his other hand. Making sure no one saw him other than Hinata, he splashed it on Kiba's face. Kiba woke up with a shriek and looked around frantically. "Good, you're finally awake, Kiba," Naruto said as he laughed. Hinata giggled softly, seeing Kiba's confused voice. "What the Naruto, why did you do that?" Kiba asked in a sleepy voice. "We have an exam today, Kiba, if I hadn't woken you up, you would have slept through it," Naruto replied as he laughed. Kiba and Naruto intently stared at each other for a few seconds and suddenly started laughing at the situation. "Kiba, Naruto, I told you so many times to keep your voices down," Uruka yelled using his patented big head jutsu. Both the boys immediately shut up upon hearing Uruka's voice and sat down without muttering another single word. During all this commotion, Shikamaru, who was sleeping with his head rested on his hands, woke up and looked around in confusion. Unfortunately, Uruka looked at Shikamaru at the same time and a tick mark formed on the academy teacher's face. "Shikamaru, are you going to sleep through the exam too?" Uruka asked, slightly annoyed. "Troublesome, I was not sleeping, Uruka-sensei," said Shikamaru, but yawned immediately after saying that. The class laughed at Shikamaru's reaction and Uruka sighed, looking at his class. Naruto looked around the classroom in amusement and could feel how eased everyone felt. These were the moments he enjoyed, the moments he cherished with his friends. To see them all happy and relaxed. This is what kept his mind away from the deed he had done a few years back. The only people in the room who were not interested in the current situation were Sasuke and Sai. Naruto had tried to talk to Sasuke in the past, but the black-haired boy wasn't interested. He considered himself greater than the others because he considered himself a true Uchiha and looked down on everyone else. The way Sasuke acted, it gave others the impression that he was only ever interested in gaining more power and would do it through any means necessary. Oh, the irony about considering himself a true Uchiha, Naruto thought on several occasions. After a long and tiresome speech from Uruka, the exam had started. Uruka and his assistant Mizuki began handing out the written exams. Mizuki was a man of average height and build, similar to Uruka. He had white, neck-length hair and wore the standard outfit of Konoha. He wore a blue-colored headband and wore his forehead protector in a bandana style around his head. Naruto had always been able to sense the feeling of hatred coming off Mizuki. He realized it was because of the Kyuubi. Naruto never talked about this to his father or anyone else since he believed it was just due to the Kyuubi. As Mizuki came to Naruto's desk to hand him the paper, he glared at him for a few seconds and proceeded to the next students. Mizuki knew he could not do anything to Naruto. With his father being the Hokage, if he ever got caught, it would be the end for him. Still, it irked him that he could not get his hands on the damned Kyuubi boy. After a simple written exam that Naruto was sure he would ace smoothly, it was time for the practical exam, which consisted of taijutsu spar between two students to show their improvement. As all the students assembled outside, Haruka and Mizuki stepped in front of them. "Alright class, now we are going to have a taijutsu spar between students. The spar will continue until one opponent gives up or is knocked out. Any questions?" asked Haruka, and was glad when everyone understood it. The first few matches were between a bunch of civilian kids and Naruto sighed as he saw their taijutsu abilities. He wondered how they even reached the second year with such poor skills. It was more like street fighting. The fifth match was between Sai and another civilian. The match went on for a few minutes, with Sai eventually winning it by managing to knock out his opponent out of the ring. However, there was something which Naruto had noticed every time in Sai's matches. He pretended to lower his skills while fighting at the academy. It was as if he was hiding his true ability. Naruto always felt something strange about the boy, but couldn't ascertain it properly. The next match was between Kiba and Shino. Naruto knew it would be a close match as both were moderately adept in taijutsu. However, he guessed Kiba would come out victorious due to his clan's edge in taijutsu. While the Inuzuka clan focused on taijutsu primarily, the Aburame clan were prone to make use of ninjutsu with the help of their bugs. Naruto's assumptions were proven to be correct as a few minutes into the match, Shino showed signs of fatigue and Kiba slipped into his defense after performing a feint left hook and knocked him out a sharp elbow to his chest. "Alright, next match is between Sakura Haruno and Ino Yamanaka," announced Haruka. After hearing the announcement, Ino seemed confident that she would win it easily. Ino knew that Sakura was mainly book smart and had good chakra control but lacked severely in taijutsu. "Oh, how wrong she would be. Watch me, Sasuke-kun," Ino squealed as she went inside the ring within which the students are supposed to fight. Naruto looked at Sakura, who seemed to be a bit worried. He walked to her and placed a comforting hand on her shoulder. "You can do this, Sakura-chan. You have worked hard, I know. I believe in you," Naruto whispered to her calmly. Sakura's eyes widened upon hearing him say those words and her face seemed to gain a bit more confidence. Naruto smiled seeing her face and gave her a thumbs up. As both Sakura and Ino got into the ring, Haruka signaled for the start of the match. Ino rushed towards Sakura blindly and attempted to give a kick to her right rib. Just as she was about to kick her, Sakura rolled to her left, avoiding the kick easily. Ino, whose leg was still in the air, was surprised by Sakura's maneuver, and almost lost her balance. Seeing Ino's surprise, Sakura coated her hand with a slight amount of chakra and rushed at Ino with impressive speed for an academy student. She then punched Ino right on her left cheek, which made the platinum blonde-haired girl fall out of the ring. This was the result of hard work which Sakura had put in improving herself in the past 2 years. After being released from school, she often trained with Naruto and Hinata and learned a lot from them. Naruto and Hinata had helped Sakura in improving her chakra control. Sakura, surprisingly, was a natural in controlling her chakra. She had learned the tree walking exercise in a single day and was able to walk up and down the tree with ease now. Even though the water walking exercise took some time for her, she was able to master it eventually. The entire crowd of students were shocked at seeing Sakura win the match with ease. Most of the time Sakura had a taijutsu spar with someone, she lacked confidence and would make a mistake or two. But she showed a flawless performance today. "Way to go, Sakura-chan," Naruto cheered. Sakura blushed slightly as she heard Naruto cheer for him but hid it well. "That was great, Sakura," yelled Kiba with Akamaru barking in agreement. Haruka smiled at seeing his student improve dramatically and knew who it was that helped her. After Ino had been moved off the field and taken to the side, Haruka had resumed the matches. The next match was between Hinata and another civilian girl. Naruto, who was standing next to her, squeezed Hinata's hand in a gentle manner discreetly. The two had a strange relationship. Naruto had developed a strong trust in her. It was strange for him too. From the moment he had seen her, she seemed different to him. She was kind and gentle while speaking, while fierce and beautiful in a spar. They did not speak much, but always knew what the other was thinking. Naruto shared things with her which he never shared with anyone. Not even his own father. Hinata smiled in response and went ahead for her match. The fight was completely one-sided, as Hinata had won the match with a few precise strikes of Juken to the civilian girl's body. The next match between Shikamaru and Choji was quite amusing for everyone. As soon as the two entered the ring, Shikamaru gave up after not moving for a couple of minutes, saying it was too troublesome to fight his best friend. Both were given a lecture by Iruka which went on for minutes and many students snickered, watching the two. Today's last match will be between Naruto Namikaze and Sasuke Uchiha, said Iruka. Almost everyone knew how the match would span out. Despite that, several of the girls, who believed themselves to be in love with Sasuke, cheered loudly for him. Oi Naruto, beat the Thames, said Kiba. Good luck, Naruto-kun, Hinata said softly as she looked at him. She knew he would win. He always wins. To her, he was invincible. She knew how strong he was. She was aware of his darkest thoughts, secrets which children their age were not aware of, and she was glad he trusted her enough to share so much about him to her. In the past 2 years, the two had found several uncanny similarities with each other. The two often spent time together after training or studying with Sakura, which normally consisted of either sitting under a tree quietly or Naruto taking her to sit on the edge of Naka River. Unknowingly, they both enjoyed each other's presence. Shikamaru and Shino just nodded their head, showing their support for Naruto. Both were smarter than most of the students in class and were aware Naruto was much more powerful than he let on in the academy. Naruto and Sasuke stood in front of each other waiting for Iruka to signal the start of the match. Naruto seemed to be perfectly calm and relaxed while Sasuke seemed confident in himself. In the past 2 years, Sasuke had trained himself to the ground in many aspects of the shinobi arts: taijutsu, ninjutsu, shurikenjutsu and genjutsu. He was even able to unlock his Sharingan and had progressed it to the 2nd level. He believed he could beat Naruto with the amount of work he had done. Iruka gave the signal to start the match, but none of them moved from their positions. While Sasuke got into the stance of the Uchiha Interceptor Fist and activated his Sharingan, Naruto showed no signs of being surprised or intimidated. Meanwhile, several students in the arena gasped seeing Sasuke's two-tomo Sharingan. Naruto showed no reaction to any of the whispers in the crowd or the fact that Sasuke was currently glaring at him. His two-chan, Jiraiya Oji-chan and Kakashi had taught him that the best way to win a fight is to make sure you remain completely focused on your opponent and keep your emotions in check. Naruto already knew about Sasuke's Sharingan from Itachi during one of their training sessions. He knew Sasuke was strong now, but his arrogance was his weakest point, and that is just what he planned on exploiting. A few more minutes had passed and the two had yet to move. What's wrong, Dobi? Afraid to lose in front of your loser friends? You should stop hanging out with such people. You don't deserve to be an Uchiha, mocked Sasuke in hopes of getting a reaction from the blonde. Naruto's eyes hardened on hearing Sasuke berate his friends. If there was one thing which Naruto valued most, it was his friends. He could tolerate Sasuke's arrogant behavior, but putting down his friends was not something he could tolerate. You shouldn't have said that, Sasuke, thought Naruto. Before anyone could blink, Naruto disappeared from everyone's sight. Sasuke's eyes widened and he frantically looked around for him. However, the next thing Sasuke knew, he was elbowed on his left shoulder, which made him fall on the ground harshly. As he fell on the ground, he clutched his shoulder as the pain became too much for him. Naruto then picked him up by the collar and then punched him with good amount of strength. Enough to dislocate his jaw. Almost everyone watching the fight were stunned on seeing this side of Naruto. They had never seen the blonde defeat someone with this much cruelty. Naruto, what do you think you are doing? Stop cheating, yelled Ino. Everyone else just wondered what was wrong in that brain of hers. Shut up, Naruto said coldly as he turned to face Ino. Gone were the warm violet eyes and in its place, were the blood-red Sharingan with 3 tomos. Ino immediately shut up hearing Naruto's tone, which sent shivers down her spine. Naruto wasn't even leaking killing intent. But just one look in his eyes made her freeze in her spot. Hinata, who was quietly standing on the side, looked sadly at Naruto. She knew how close he considered his friends to be and the look in his eyes reflected that. Even if others couldn't read him properly, she understood him. "Don't ignore me, damn it," yelled Sasuke as he got up weakly. He ran towards Naruto, ignoring the overwhelming pain in shoulder and jaw. Naruto swatted away his attempt at a weak punch easily and gave him a right hook to his jaw, which again sent him skidding a few feet back. "Is that all?" asked Naruto, angry. Sasuke got up again on shaky legs and stared at the blonde furiously, all the while having a singular thought. "Why am I so weak? All this anger, it's not good for you, Sasuke. You consider yourself above others just because you are an Uchiha. You have no idea of my true abilities. You don't know the meaning of true strength, and if you don't change your way of thinking, you will never become strong," said Naruto darkly. "Okay. That's enough. The match is over," shouted Iruka, seeing that the situation was getting out of hand. Even he was shocked by seeing this side of Naruto. But he reminded himself that Naruto was a kind and loving child. Enraged by what Naruto had said, Sasuke mustered all his strength to get up and ran at Naruto again. However, before he could even reach him, Naruto looked into Sasuke's eyes with his Sharingan spinning, and almost immediately, Sasuke fell on the ground with a thud. Naruto remained in his position as he looked at his brethren with a sad expression. As Iruka came and picked up Sasuke, he heard Naruto apologizing to him. Looking into Naruto's eyes, Iruka knew it was the same kind-hearted blonde boy he knew. He dismissed the class for today as all the tests were done. Everyone saw Naruto storm out of the training grounds. Shikamaru, Kiba, Choji, Shino and Sakura were about to follow Naruto, when Hinata stepped in front of them. "Is it okay if I go talk to him first? I have a feeling he will listen to me," Hinata said kindly. Almost everyone in the group nodded, understanding that Hinata and Naruto were close to each other. As Hinata walked out to look for Naruto, Sakura somberly looked at her retreating figure, wishing if it could have been her in Hinata's place. Naruto immediately walked out of the academy, so that he could spend some time alone after his outburst. This was something which happened with Naruto quite often. He had realized he had a lot of darkness in him. Kurama had told him about it. He considered the fox to be his best friend among everyone else, because there was absolutely nothing the two did not know about each other. He still remembered Kurama's words. "The greater your love becomes, the stronger will be your hatred. You must control your hatred, Naruto." He walked a few distances away from the academy when he felt a hand on his shoulder. He already knew who it was. He knew her chakra signature perfectly. He turned around and did the only thing he could at this moment. He hugged her tightly. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to my channel for more contents like this, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. See you next time.